Welcome back to another episode of Talking Tarkov. I'm the EarLegAthlete here with,
Hey Dizzle.
and today we're here with two polarizing members of the EFT community, a couple of guys who are the left face and the right face of Tarkov esports broadcasting. These two gentlemen are not only the best casters in all the lands, but also some pretty insane Tarkov players. We are proud to welcome in CrackedWisdom and Haughtsauce.
Hello.
Go ahead and give everybody a quick introduction if you'd like. Tell them where they can find you and things like that. Anything going on in your guys' world that you want the viewers to know about.
Okay, I guess we start this with hello, I'm Left Face, or CrackedWisdom, or that bald guy, or many other things that I guess a few of the community have come to fondly know as of recently due to our various versions of our faces being on screen. Primarily, I am an EFT arena esports caster for the comp scene. We've done EU, NA, and international tournaments myself and my co-caster below me with the lovely mustache. And yeah, I've a fair amount of experience across arena and base game. I've also cast base game tournaments before I did arena casting, actually, something that not so many people know about. And yeah, I've been interacting with Tarkov for about, I guess, just over maybe like 15,000 hours total, I guess we were saying, across both a couple of base game accounts and an arena account. So I'd like to think I'm relatively experienced at this point.
Yeah, and I'm Haughtsauce. I've been casting for probably 6.5 years. I've known Cracked for a couple years now. He's been casting Tarkov a little bit longer than I have, but you know, super kind when I came on, really helped me a lot along in my journey as far as the Tarkov scene goes. Haughtsauce on most things. My last name is Haught, so that's where Haughtsauce comes from, spelled like that. So Haughtsauce on most things, _Haughtsauce_, unfortunately, on Twitter or X. And I do have a website, Hautsauce.com, where there's a calendar where you can find me, things like that, which does need updated here. Usually January is a little bit slow, but got some Counter-Strike stuff that'll be coming up. You know, I cast more than 50 different games, board games, all kinds of different stuff that I've done all over the United States, and I can say the world now. So it's been a very fun, interesting experience, but Hunt has been very, very good to me, and the Tarkov community as a whole has been amazing to me, which I think really quickly shaped it to be my favorite place to cast. So I love my Counter-Strike, my Valorant, my Rocket League, but for me, Tarkov in the last year has taken the cake.
Yeah, we actually met over that side, funnily enough. Not for Escape from Tarkov. We coincidentally, I had been looking for some extra casting work to do on different platforms, not Tarkov based. And somebody had pointed me towards a Discord that did agency stuff, and agency pointed me towards a Discord called TEC, and I've been looking at it a little bit. And then I got a message from Hunt Ops saying, we've got a couple of people we're looking to trial to come and do casting for Tarkov tournaments. And this was towards one of the sort of November events where we did a factory tournament. And I remember the first day Haught came on to cast with me for factory as his like trial run, essentially. As we cast it, and I said after the cast, is like, this is single-handedly probably the best experience I've had with the duo caster to date, full stop. We hit it off like a set of rocks, honestly, and we're really, really happy about that experience. And then afterwards, he essentially opened up my book of being able to cast different titles, because from that he said about TEC, which was somewhere he'd worked at for a fair while before, and he'd been the experienced pillar essentially of respect for his time and loyalty that he put over there. About 4 years he'd been working there before I got, you know, sort of brought along with him, and he knocked on their door and said, hey, there's this caster that I've just done this Tarkov event with. I think he'd be generically good. You should give him a shot. And therefore my week filled out. I ended up casting with Haught, doing Rocket League, Valorant, Overwatch, things I'd never cast before for the first time ever, just because this man gave me the confidence and was like, yeah, you're good enough, you can do this generically. And I wasn't amazing to begin with. Those other titles I definitely looked out of place for the first couple of weeks, but we learned that we could pick it up quite quickly. And I think yeah, we both just kind of noticed, and I kind of had a knack of being able to just yap. So you could put something in front of me, and that was it. And then from that was my like ticket to be like, right, well, that's it. Sauce is coming with me for the rest of the Tarkov stuff. Like, he'd already given me a leg up, you know, barely knew me. We'd done one cast together, and the man basically put a full week's worth of workload on my platter, consistent income as well. I'm like, right, okay, sound. So we got to get this man booked in. Philbo asked for feedback from, you know, the trials we did. We all sat down and said that this, and this. And I like, yeah, spoke. And this is not because of the bias from that either. Let me be dead serious. Although this man has earned my respect, it wasn't earned before his respect was earned for his skill and caliber of what he does. Like, his craft is incredible. I still look up to try and be as good as he is at crafting, which amazes me when he turns around and says that I'm the person that he learns from for the Tarkov stuff, because I don't see it that way. I still think that he has the generic umbrella, honestly.
Well, Cracked has got a lot more knowledge than I do. I like to get real hype and energetic and have fun, but Cracked has, he's helped. There's certain call outs that, that I maybe didn't know. The first time I cast an arena game, like, I played a lot of team fight and other stuff. And so I'm like, yeah, I love, getting in the towers, and chat's immediately like, well, Blast King doesn't have towers, fucking idiot, and I'm like, man, there we go. Already messing up. But he as much as I may have helped him, he's equally helped me as well. And I think getting to meet Cracked in person, like, I remember he's stepping out of the taxi or whatever, and just big hug, and it's just instantly brothers. Like, we were already brothers before we met, I felt, but a lot of fun in person.
Yeah, meeting someone that you just have that synergy with, it really is special. Like, it's not a common thing for you to just be able to pick up like you grew up together, best friends. That is a skill that comes along, or not even necessarily a skill. That's an opportunity that comes along very rarely. So yeah, the fact that you two were able to just meet and just instantly kick it off and just be able to start casting off of each other and feeding off of each other, because it is a lot of, I would assume at least, a lot of cues back and forth with each other that you kind of have to develop over time. But when you already just have that natural synergy, it's like one of you picks up right where the other one's left off, or So can you kind of speak on the first few times that you guys were casting together, and some of those moments that might have come up where it was just like, yeah, this is a good duo to cast with?
Yeah. This is a good one, is this, actually? I'll never forget the first time that I did a TEC event on the evening when Sauce had finished early, and he'd come to watch my first cast that I did. And I'd done a first cast with a different duo, and the first duo that I worked with was a guy called Infernosis, and it was really good. It's a great cast. We did a Marvel Rivals cast, and it was really fun. And the next cast I did was a guy with a guy called Spectrion, and we cast this Counter-Strike game. And I've never ever heard somebody bring down a set of high schoolers so much in my life for their gameplay. It hurt. I never ever thought that my understanding of how good Sauce would be would come from somebody else being just so negative about gameplay. And it's like you're talking to 12 to 18-year-olds,
Right.
and you're calling them out for like pro level micro misplays that like, just because you know it, doesn't mean you have to be pulling school kids down. And these are people, these are people that they've probably played maybe less than a couple of 100 hours of the game. They just like the idea of competitive, and after school, that's their hobby. Like, we go and play tennis or cricket or football or rugby or chess or whatever your thing is that you do for your after school thing. That was their after school thing. They played computer games, and their school provided a system for in which they could be a little bit competitive about it. And then they hired out agency staff like this guy, and he brought people down. So I remember going back after that cast to Haught and saying, I don't want to cast with somebody like that ever again, because that was painful. And I mean, that really just went to show it. And you go back and you cast, and there's a couple of amazing people I've got to cast with alongside of it. And I can throw you 4 or 5 great names now. The likes of Blue ESQ, who has cast some of the arena stuff with us and the base game stuff with us. He's another phenomenal caster. We're a little bit unfortunate that Blue's time is taken doing other things. Like, he works a very hard job in real life that takes up a lot of his time, and it's quite demanding, and he's very committed to that job. He earns really good for doing that. Like, he has worked his graft to earn where he's at for his workplace. And that's credit to him as a human. In addition to that, he also immerses himself in other environments too. He's been getting into Delta Force and some other bits like that recently as well, which is great to see. But we've got to cast with him. Blue's exceptional. Mr. Bepic is another one we've cast with as well. He's another guy that's extremely talented at what he does. We've cast with Kirk on the Lurk, who also has pools of expertise in levels that some people just could not ever match. His stat collecting ability is unbelievable. His attention to detail for facts and percentages is incredible. Yeah. TEC, somebody that Haught will back up and speak more to the effect of, as he's had more experience casting with him. But a gentleman called Llama, who I have cast with before, is another one that is an exceptional level caster. These people are very few and far between. It's okay to be a good caster. Like, lots of people can talk, but to be really good at captivating an audience does require a certain skill. And I've worked with both people that I feel have that and haven't had that.
I think for me, even before I ever casted, like one thing I was always good at was like kind of knowing people. Like there was certain people I could connect with and I would know right away. But I mean, at this point, I'd been casting for 4 years, and so when I casted with Crack the first and the second time, I think it was a factory base game and then a customs duo base game tournament. But we didn't really have to say this is a cue. This is if I do this, this means I'm throwing. We didn't have to do any of that. It's like from the beginning, I said I do it all with my inflection of my voice. Basically, I'm hyping, and then when I'm slowing things down, I'm ready to throw whatever. He picked up on it right away. We didn't have any issues. And just from the beginning, we had a very good atmosphere. We could bounce back and forth, be real hype. He got energetic as well, because a lot of times I'm sometimes too energetic, too hyper probably. And a lot of times people, I've had friends be like, yeah, that was a good cast, but that other guy really just was kind of like monotone. Like he just couldn't. Right. And Cracked is someone that matched my energy, kind of have a similar outlook on a lot of things. Obviously, we have a lot of differences too, which makes it fun because we'll disagree on some stuff. But we kind of clicked right away. And so I knew within the first 2 base game tournaments that, Cracked would be hands down someone that I would work with at any point for any game.
A really great example of this actually is actually Blue in this instance, and I'll give you a bit of a comparison for this. So when I or Sauce finish a broadcast and we feel like there's maybe something that didn't work to the level that we wanted it to, maybe one of us spoke over the other, we kind of jumped the gun on speeches, or we left pauses too long, or there was a bit too much wordplay, so it came off more cheesy than being actually as effective and punctual as it wants to be. We'd sort of pass these bits of feedback to each other, and it's just like it's a learning curve. We take it on the chin, you kind of improve from it. We spoke to Blue for a little while because he had this fondness for kills happening all over the map. And because Tarkov has a natural habit of being a very quick-paced game, you'll see kill after kill in the kill feed that is teams trading kills, but they're not really actually trading. So force of habit had got Blue into saying, oh, this team would trade for this trade, and it wouldn't be a trade at all. It'd just be 2 isolated kills on the other side of the map. And we spoke to Blue about this, and it was something that, again, Blue, another person that I classed to have a level of skill as a caster, was able to take that on board and adjust to it. But it wasn't something he did well with me. Me and Blue have a slightly jaunting casting style that kind of conflicts, not in a bad way in any shape or form. We're just not as melding as Blue and Haughtsauce is. I remember doing a broadcast where we would done a set of 7 casts in a row. I'd done 4 of 7 days. Sauce had done 3 of 7 days, and we'd done different partners each time. So I'd done some with Kirk, some with Bepic, some with Blue. Sauce had done some with Bepic and some with Blue. And Haught and Blue's day, even in my mind after that, was the best broadcast out of all of the 7 days, because their chemistry together on screen is something different. So I definitely think that casting, there's a level to it as well that does matter about that chemistry between the 2 people you've got there. Blue's not a bad caster. I don't think I'm a bad caster. I won't say I'm like exceptional, but I wouldn't say I'm a bad caster. And we together on screen, we do a good job. Sauce and Blue together do an exceptional job because their chemistry just works. You remember there was a joke the one time you told me, I can't remember the name of the joke that you guys were going. It was like a Bob Ross joke or something, I think it was, that you maybe made. But one of them made a joke that, to me, it's not my culture from where I've been brought up, so it wasn't funny. But both of them being American, it was something that they clicked on, and that chemistry come off on screen, and that was what was like kind of really impressive from that broadcast. So yeah, definitely differences there, but you can tell, like, we don't, John, if one of us makes a mistake, the other one's already on it to be on the back end of that sentence to cover it. If I get Mother Nature grab the back of my tonsils and I'm about to sneeze and hiccup as I'm mid-sentence and I just hit my mute button and it goes dead for a second, Sauce knows something's up and he's just going to steal the flow and he's going to jump straight in there. If we get to a point where anything's jumping or something like that, we have like a giveaway system that we automatically kind of tend to, but we haven't spoken this out loud, which is where I think our natural chemistry comes in. We just kind of have a similar understanding. Like, I'll count to 3. If at 3 seconds I haven't heard something from Sauce, it's my turn to keep an eye on the action and decide whether it's my turn to be passed to. If he's not saying anything for 3 seconds, but the game's quiet, I'll decide to extend it a bit because he might be waiting for it to pop off, because there's no point in talking over natural sound. Sometimes the ambience of the game is more important than us yapping. People don't want to hear us 24/7. They want us to elevate their experience. It's not about us. It's about what's going on in front of us.
Which is why Crack's a great caster, not a good caster, and he just doesn't give himself enough credit a lot of times.
I
but,
agree with that statement. Yeah.
you know, I would, I would challenge him to say, show me someone else that can get out there and do what you do, and why aren't they here? So I think, and as humans, we all do that a lot, right? We all kind of downplay our stuff a little bit and hype others up. I mean, that's sometimes a natural thing, but Crack definitely doesn't give himself enough credit, not only on casting, but on art as well. So, yeah, and so, and it's like me, sometimes I'm better at kind of lighting a fire under my friend's ass than I am my own when stuff needs done, and so I think, Cracked has been good at helping me in the right direction sometimes. Just like, I like to think, whether it comes to art or some other stuff, I've been trying to kick him in the ass a little bit and, get him out there doing stuff, because I mean, he certainly deserves it.
It's really funny he says that. Actually, we've had a lot of people recently, back and forth between the two of us. I think that's probably the reason why we get on so well in real life as well. We did, like I say, we only met for the first time this year casting, and then we met later on in that year. Crazy to think we've only known each other for 6 months, and then we ended up meeting IRL. NA to the UK as well, by the way. It's literally halfway across the world from each other, and we got to meet in 6 months, which is madness. But it is a wavelength thing. It definitely is a wavelength thing. We understand a similar perspective of life. So
it shows when you guys conversate. It does.
Yeah, it absolutely does. You guys just fill the air so well. There's been things I've wanted to interject on, and I'm just like, dude, they're flowing so well. Like, you guys,
feel free,
and that's just it though.
Free.
Like, when necessary, sure, but like that's the thing too. Though, is like the way you guys flow together is magical almost. Like you guys have you can just tell you guys have a really good chemistry with each other. Yeah. But yeah, so you mentioned art a second ago, though, and it is worth noting that BSG is hosting an art contest this year.
Yes.
One, do you care to just elaborate on what the rules are and how people can enter? But also, like you mentioned, Cracked is a pretty skilled artist, and you also have your wife that is quite the artist as well, right?
She's insanely talented, like especially portraits and stuff. I have some stuff behind me here, but she likes more of the realism style, I think, when it comes to drawing and stuff like that. But she was a tattoo artist for 20 plus years. Had a couple years off during a stroke, and then now does it one-handed still. But yeah, she's a talented artist, and a handful of my kids are very, very talented artists as well. I'm not in that sense of form, but yeah, I've actually taken a couple pictures and given some ideas to my wife that I'd like her to try and draw something for this event, and we're gonna try to get our oldest daughter as well, because she does more of the animated, cartoony style drawings, which I think would be really good. But I'm trying to get my wife to draw me basically as Tequila, like shirt off, way more jacked than I actually am, with like hammer in the air, Tequila mask flipped up, so you see it's me with the mustache and like some of my tattoos, and stuff, like maybe standing on like a head of like a pile of skulls. But so I'm trying to get her to do something cool like that for the art contest. But yeah, Cracked equally good at art, and he does these hats that I personally am in love with. Like I saw him, and that's the one that really made me like start hassling him. I'm like, this is cool stuff. You've got to find a way to get it out there more, because this is a unique skill that's fun, especially for nerds and gamers. Like I saw you got the hat, so I know you're gonna show him. I'll let him go ahead and do the
because I know full well you're not gonna let me stop until I go and fetch it. The last 2 times he's talked about the hat, he's been like, you're gonna have to go fetch it. So like I am a real nerd. Okay, I might be 33 years old, but I'm like 18 years old in my head, and long live that mentality. Because I swear to you all, I will be 65. I'll be sat on my PC gaming. As long as my body 100%. Can still handle it and not pass out, I will be here until my bones go crusty and I wisp away like the dust that my bones have been left and shriveled to. Honestly, like I will quite happily deteriorate in my chair, as horrid as that sounds, because like, I love the community, the people that have embraced just everything around Tarkov since the 1.0 release stuff, meeting people at Paris, PAX, people like yourselves, wanting to speak to us and have these kind of conversations. Battlestate Games is genuine, embracing us with open arms from the interaction at those release events to the social side on the afterwards as well. It's not just you turn up to work with them, but they would also encourage you to come out and have a few drinks with them. And, you know, the taxis are sorted. They've just got that. It's that, you know, we're here to just make sure everyone's having a good time vibe about it. There isn't any like beef or pride in the way. It just is genuine. Like, it's really nice. So for me, I wouldn't change it. Like, it's a blessing to be a part of the environment as a whole. And I'm just grateful people are happy to see it. So no, I am a nerd, so that we don't side tangent too far.
Tangents are
I come from
what we do here.
Do you remember PlayStation 1s, the original PlayStation, the circular PlayStation? Yeah, the
Oh,
grey
yeah.
one with the pop lid. Well,
I'm 36.
I started. Yeah, so you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adam's around the age as well. He's
Yeah.
we're oldies.
Croc the Legend of Gobbo. First game I ever had. PlayStation 1 original game. Like six-sided hexagonal diamond block things you had to collect, and jumping on what I could only describe as like Oreo platforms at this point in time, because they were
Fair
just
enough.
poppy put discs to
Yeah.
platform on. Some of the greatest first gaming experiences you ever had. Back when modems used to
The old dial-up sounds. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have been connected to AOL.
You
Please
could
make
either
sure
have
Online.
your
your phone,
landline.
if she does, you'll lose your connection. You know?
Yeah. You get the landline or
Grandma
you get the
called up to
internet,
say,
one
"Are
or
you
the
good?"
other.
Yep, that's it. You know, Dad needed to take a business call. Goodbye, that game of FIFA you were playing.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Made me
that
lose.
was it. Was
Del
nightmare.
97, get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. You book time with your parents after getting home from school. You'd be like, "Mum, if anyone needs to call, tell them to ring after 8. Between 6 and 8, I'm playing Need for Speed Underground. All right, it's booked in. My mates have got time off too. We've done our homework. Come on, please just give us 2 hours of game time online. That's it. Yeah, no. So I loved like the old originals. Okay, I was into Spyro, Sonic the Hedgehog, Crash Bandicoot, Sly the Raccoon, Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank. All like what I feel is like some of the greatest titles that were out there. And that kind of cartoon ethic kind of came into my artwork. So I kind of like drew a little bit of a collage. So we've got Spyro on the front, and he's got his like nose with the nose ring, and then you pull it up and it's got his mouth underneath it. And then you got Sparks on the side with the dragonfly there. Just a little chemistry glass, because why not? You got Tails obviously in it. A couple of cocktail glasses you'd enjoy on the beach. Just some flames and fire in the background.
The feathers are sick.
Well, the feathers come from the other side. So you've got Crash Bandicoot on the side to represent Crash. Obviously, we did the Spyro and the Sonic stuff on the front, and we've got a Crash level on the side there. You'll see the iconic little tower plant, the Venus flytrap that used to eat you alive as you jump across the platforms. All right, and then you go around the other side, and you see that's the other side of the actual jumping section itself, with the bonus level platform that would take you round to the other side of the hat. On the back of it is the Aku Aku mask, so if you decide to wear the hat backwards, you still look a little bit cool.
That's cool.
And that's where the feathers come from. And then the
Nice.
feathers are what extends down into the pattern on the front side to separate the different parts of the design from the Aku Aku mask. So you wear it that way, or you can wear it that way. And then it's got, I'll tell you, this is where it's really cool. Okay, this was done in less than 25 minutes at Insomnia in Birmingham at the first ever in-person event I attended with the HuntPremier. It's there. It's tagged with I-72. I even put the date on it just here, which you won't be able to see, but it's dated there from when we did it. That was the first in-person event I attended at HuntPremier, and that was what I did with some of my spare time whilst I was chill.
That's sick. Yeah.
So custom hats, and Source wants me to sell custom hats. I did some custom trainers for my partner, which you can do with like airbrush guns and stuff like that. But yeah, custom hats are kind of cool. Since he's been poking me about it, I've had 3 requests for hats, and I've said I'm going to make Source one. I'm going to send him as well. So yeah, but we do hats. We do. The thing I'm big into is my canvases. I have to show you this one. This is like,
yeah, dude, go nuts. Shows it all. Now you said you sell these things, right? So like, is there a website people can visit to get their hands on these? Oh, dude, gorgeous.
So yeah, it's at CrackedWisdom Paints, just all one word, CrackedWisdom Paints on Instagram. You just hit me up with a DM. Each of the quotes are all custom base priced because they're all custom designs. All right, so none of these are repeatable. It's pouring paint acrylic artwork, so you'll find that I'll pour this design and you'll never ever see the same one ever again. All right, so it goes off a base canvas price. Like something like this is it's a 30 centimeter diameter. All right, so it's pretty decent, the size of my hand, at least in comparison.
30 centimeters to 3 Americans, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, fine, fair enough. I don't know
what is that in freedom?
Yeah.
What are that freedom units, man?
But these are 25 quid. That's it. It's not expensive.
Cool.
You know, they get enameled, they get good, and they can be sent out. It's actually a full wooden frame, so they're not like they're like good quality canvases and stuff.
Right.
You know. Yeah,
That's awesome.
We do different shapes, we do different sizes. The patterns can be whatever you like. We did somebody. We're going to be doing a Wolverhampton Wanderers one for someone for a British football fan that wanted one the other week. Yeah.
My artistic ability stops at crafting like hobby terrains and things like that. I paint miniatures and stuff. I used to get into like D&D really heavily, and I make some really good terrain. I feel like I do a good job with that. When it comes to actually doing fine painting and like detailed work, out the window. There's no shot in it in any way, shape, or form. I don't know. My hands get shaky or something. I can't like even like with painting miniatures, base coats or so.
I'm
I'm
wondering
always
if we're
super
about to
impressed by
surprise
artistic
you a little
ability.
something extra here.
Potentially,
You say
let's-
miniature.
Yeah.
Warhammer? Did you ever get anything into 40k wise?
Yeah. So my stepdad's really into Warhammer.
Oh
A
man.
couple other like war game RPG, and yeah, we played a handful of times. I've started my army. It's not finished. I've got a couple miniatures painted. Like I said, I was mostly into the D&D stuff for a while. So all my like miniature painting and things have gone. So
I thought I had it close in pictures, but so I used to commission models for people for 40k, which is where my art sort of started as a whole. I used to play a lot as a kid and was really good at painting miniatures for a while, and then my eyes started to deteriorate, needed glasses, thought I wasn't going to be able to do the same stuff, and then figured out I was still able to paint, and then kind of went nuts. We placed second in Golden Demon in
oh shit,
like 2014 or 15 something when I was like 18. But
that's awesome.
yeah, there was a 30k Magnus the Red resin model that I got commissioned to do recently that I was really proud of, and I don't think I have it here, but there we
I have
go.
a buddy that
There's
also
an
does
example. I don't know
commission
whether
work.
it's going to be visible or not, but there's an example of.
If you want to send it to me in a DM,
Yeah,
that would be
I'll
sick,
send
and
you
then
that over.
we can put it on screen. So
Yeah, man.
yeah, dude,
Let's get this one up.
you guys that like are capable of painting the way that you guys do. You know what I'm talking about? That upper echelon of like miniature painters. It is such an art form. It blows my mind beyond belief. Like I just cannot process the intricacies and the time and the amount of patience and the steadiness, dude. There's so much involved with it. I wish I had half of that art. And it is. If you guys haven't seen 40k miniatures, D&D miniatures, some of these like the top tier painters can do, like it is insane. Go check some of that
Didn't
stuff
you do
out.
some WoW things like that? Didn't you do some kind of art with like WoW figures and stuff?
D&D stuff essentially, more or less. Like
Oh, that's what it was. D&D.
yeah, pretty much.
I'll never forget the one year as we used to work. So me and my best friend, we used to work in a board game shop. We actually used to run a board game shop before COVID. Funny story. We opened up a board game shop that did Warhammer, did Pokemon cards, did Magic the Gathering cards, all that kind of stuff. And then COVID happened and everything fell through. So I'm sure you've heard many versions of that story before. So I won't drone you with it. But shop plan ex-COVID equals big burning building of disaster. Yeah. Anyway. I won't ever forget the one year before Christmas, a lady brought into me a Resident Evil 2 board game. And she turned around to me and she was like, "Can you paint this for me?" Now, I'd seen my mate play Resident Evil tons of times, but I'd never played Resident Evil, never really interacted with the lore or nothing like that at all. So I didn't know what people looked like, the characters, and nothing. And I was like, yeah, sure. We picked it up. And I'm not going to lie to you, it was one of the best experiences I've ever done, because going and researching different source material that was not something I enjoyed, but for something I enjoyed doing as painting was actually quite enjoyable.
Yeah, and Resident Evil has some pretty deep lore too. Like, you can really dive into some stuff with Resident Evil. I not as much these years, but I used to be really into Resident Evil. I've played all of them still, but yeah, it goes deep. So researching that topic can really put some time into it and not feel like you've made a lot of progress, to be completely honest, because there's a lot of twists and turns and interesting surprises throughout the world of Resident Evil. So it's cool. But yeah, that's awesome. I didn't even know there was a Resident Evil version of.
Neither did I.
I had no idea. That's news to me. That's cool.
We found out 2 months before we sold that set. We literally ordered it in from Asmodee. We were like, "Oh, this is a thing. That sounds cool. Let's order it." And then she bought it. And yeah. Other cool thing, by the way, I've just read this art contest that BSG are doing is being juried over by artists, actual artists, Escape from Tarkov artists, by the way. There's a full list of a panel actually being displayed on that website, which I was just nosing into. The conditions aren't that bad. I thought there was going to be a few more stricter rules around this, but it literally just says to create an artwork based on the Escape from Tarkov universe. The work must be fully drawn by you, and must not include photography or in-game screenshots. So just must be an original piece, basically. No AI generation, something like that. So you got to publish your work on social media, tagging Escape from Tarkov and using the hashtags Escape from Tarkov and hashtag Tarkov 2026. Done by February 15th, so tons of time to do it in. And then there's a send a link to your work to their email. And then there's like a format required. So it wants your email address for your Tarkov account. It wants the platform where you've linked it to, where you published the image, a short description, and then the actual file of the artwork itself for them. Not really much, basically. Send them a picture, send them the folder, show them whether you linked it on the socials, and then make sure that you tag them is the up and down of that. And then the panel is ANS Draws, Remmer, November 152, Epikim, Amo, Clamol, Daito, Shishamania, and Kojiman Japan, which are all pretty prolific artists across the Tarkov scene. Some of them even across from the Japanese and the Korean scene that are if you've had a look at some of their artwork, there's some pretty good digital artists in that stack, honestly.
Yeah, they actually have the artist names hyperlinked on the Battle State game page when you go look at the 9 of the 10 announced judges, and so you can click on a link and see a lot of their different work and stuff. So I think that Shishumania guy or whatever may be the one that created some of those Tarkov jackets that we saw at the Tokyo games.
Yeah, that's the guy that made the Tagila Killa jacket, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, incredible artist.
Yeah. They do a few different bits and bobs, by the way. I'm terrible at pronouncing it. I always make sure I got it on screen before I try and pronounce his name. Shishumania. His art style is known for being displayed on windbreakers, bomber jackets. It's something he's really popular for where he's from. So something that his Instagram page is quite heavy on. I've spent the last couple of weeks actually looking at quite a lot of these since the artwork contest got announced, because I often find I haven't got enough time to know all the people I'd like to know, and then I don't know half of the people that I should know for the people that I'd like to get to know. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's a massive community, right? It's hard to not only track everybody that's got stuff going on and be involved with all these people, but just getting around to make contact with all these. It's a difficult task. The community is huge. The NA community is one thing, but you look at the worldwide community, and just in Japan, it's massive, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of folks around that are definitely involved. Yeah. So, are you all submitting artwork, Haught included, or are you just going to have your wife do some stuff?
I'm not an artist, man. I don't draw. My stick figures have issues, so
yeah, that's.
Not I play a little guitar and make up songs on the spot that annoy people, but that's maybe more along my artistic revenue. I am not by any shape or form a drawer or a painter.
I already said if it wasn't for photography being banned, just take a picture of his face and submit that shit as art.
Oh yeah, right.
Masterpiece.
It's the
butter me up a little too much.
Aura.
Good. So you guys have mentioned the amount of traveling that you've gotten to do, like you said, not just in the States, but now even worldwide. Not just within the BSG events, I suppose, but what is your favorite venue that you guys have gotten to visit over time spent doing your casting?
Ooh. Not
for
Paris.
Me,
definitely not Paris.
For me, if I was going to do it so I'll break it down in 2 separate ones, right? The BSG events for me wasn't, I had a great time. I actually had a phenomenal time in Paris, as well as Seattle. But for me, it wasn't actually being at the events. It was the things that happened after, when we were going out and hanging out, eating dinner, having some drinks together, sitting in the hotel room, sitting at the parks, smoke, whatever it might be, So I had a phenomenal time with that. For the other stuff, I do a lot of high school leagues. And so when I show up at these high school places, like as soon, hot sauce, sign my jersey. Like even parents of these kids, they're like, oh yeah, sign, they're wanting their jersey signed, wanting pictures. They tell me they sit down to watch me every Wednesday to cast their kids' games. And so the fact that they treat me like I'm some kind of crazy celebrity, and they just talk about how much they appreciate what I do for them and their kids, or the kids just for them themselves. But so, outside of the BSG realm, it would certainly be that, because I mean, that's probably I always say that's my least paying stuff, but the kids, the way they treat me and stuff makes it worth it, because it's just, like I said, they treat me like a celebrity. I feel like I'm some big famous content creator or caster that's out there when I'm, still at the grand scheme of things, just kind of low on the totem pole.
Sorry, no. Like the same way that this man will put me up on a stick and wave me about in the top of the air
No, I
and be like,
think
"This
I'm
guy's
good.
good.
I'm
This
just
guy's
low on
good."
the totem
Right?
pole. You know what I mean?
It ain't. No, it ain't about thinking he's good. All right, this man has this year absolutely put the credibility out there to prove that he's good, and I don't think anybody can disagree with it. All right, and this is kind of something I want to talk to the effect of, is like, we've all got a roof to keep over our heads. That's a restriction that happens a lot of the time. So, like, me and Sauce have been willing to do volunteer casting for anybody if it's got the right cause behind it. We're more than happy to put our time forward, even if people
I mean,
are
no,
just
man.
starting up, like first time, second time. We've been more than happy to donate our time to help other people get somewhere. But you get Sauce going the extra mile, I think, sometimes, where, like, I like to think I'm a nice guy. I will try and help people out as best I can, but this man has done more than an event a year. This guy's cast 367 events over the last 365 days. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. And I guarantee you that it's probably 50-50 paid. Maybe even less than 50-50 paid because of how much he commits to this. Maybe I'm gaffing. It's his place to talk, and I don't want to spoil his finances
I used
for
to
people.
do more volunteer work, but no,
like,
honestly, it's probably 95/5. I rarely do free. I helped. In fact, I helped Timmy this year for his first season, and then told him I would want paid after that. But I used to do a lot more volunteer work, but I would say it's 95/5, 90/10. Like I make a point to try and not do free work now, just because like you said, I do have a family to feed. I have a roof to keep over my head as well. So it is more rare. Like there's a couple charity events I did. If you're a close friend in the scene, I'm willing to help out for a little bit free. You know what I mean? But I do try to draw the line, because I treat this as a business. It's serious to me. It's my dream, but it is a business. And so, like, friend or not, I have to have a line there at some point. So and Timmy was willing. I helped him for a season, and then he paid me in next season. So, like I said, I'm willing to help out, but there's a line that I draw as well.
He says this, but this is the difference between, and he's right, and I'm not disagreeing with anything he says, but there's a difference between going for the money that you're getting and taking what you need to keep the roof over your head and being happy, and also working for a good ethic around you. Like, he will make sure he's being paid, but it's like what he said about the TEC stuff. Like, he will work for a small amount because the environment's what brings him back. It doesn't matter that it's one of the lowest paying jobs. It's that, like, he's worked there. He's been loyal there. That's why he's earned the environment and the respect of the parents, of the kids, of his colleagues and his peers in his environment. And like, he has been, and I've seen him turn down other events and offers of things for more money, because he'd rather give back to the people that give to him, that have shown him that respect and stuff. And like, it's not about the money, but it is about the wealth of the situation. You get what I mean? That's where I say that it's his heart and the way that he approaches his work ethic is what his wealth is for his casting. That's one of his strongest suits. Is like,
slowly changing to the dark side, though. It's fine.
Well, I just think he's being realistic. He's not being taken for a mug. Like, at the end of the day, we're both human beings. Like, we do have bills to pay, and nice people can sometimes be taken for granted too much. And sometimes it takes a friend on the other side of the book to be like, no, you stood your ground at the wrong time. You're being an egotistical prick. You should back down off that mountain and toe the line. To also, no, I think you should stand up for yourself here. Like, you and we'll speak of one very particular day with cartwheels involved that I know Sauce will smile about, where we had we're not gonna drag no names through the mud, but we had an after work conversation where the general mentality that went out was energy was a little bit low. Kind of need people to pick it up, but we've not got too much left of the event. Let's give it that one final push, kind of thing. And this day I'd been cartwheeling around the event, like physical cartwheels, like actually jumping up and down. Yeah, like I my ADHD couldn't hold my tongue as well as I thought I could, and I spoke up at the back end of it. It's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like that's fucking rough. Like, I have been working my ass off today. Like, I have been really cooking today. Like, I've been doing cartwheels, and I can hear Haught 2 seats behind me sat there guffawing into his hands, like, I knew, because he knew it was coming. Like, he knew full well. So yeah, there are definitely times where it becomes both ways, but we just try and cook, don't we? At the end of the day, you get put out there to do a job, and And our perspective has always been it's for the entertainment of the people. Like, it isn't about us. It's what we can give to you guys for sure.
Well, and I think it shows through in your casting as well, because like you can see that passion really shining through with the way that you guys cast, and with a lot of casters, right? I think that it's a privileged position to be able to be out in front of the public and be the one that is providing the cast for the viewers. And like you have stated already, there are moments with casting that, you know, maybe not the best cast ever, but you brought through your energy to, you know, bring it back. And I don't think without passion, I don't think with that same effort and intention, even something that you may not know the most about, like you had mentioned Overwatch earlier. Could I sit down and call things happening? Sure, but you know, you have this passion for casting that even though you may not know Overwatch in and out at the moment, you know, you're still able to just pick up and feed off the energy, kind of bring that. Passion is the reason for that, and it does show through. You guys definitely put your hearts and soul into it. It shows.
I don't like Overwatch
More
2.
passion.
Clarity. I'm really not an Overwatch 2 fan. Like, Sauce will tell you, the first 2 times I cast that game, I came back to it, I was like, man, I don't like this game. But at the time, they didn't have a whole load of casters over there, and we were like, well, we're not going to lead the company
I
short
love
of
it,
people to
but
cast the
I
broadcast.
like most games.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think Haught's background in casting is a lot more generic than mine is, though. I really did find my footing and do the majority of any casting that I've done within Tarkov. I only branched out into these other games through what Haught exposed me to, which has been a blessing. But I think you definitely started across a broader spectrum, right? I think you've cast multiple things since you started casting, rather than really specializing in one thing to begin with, which is very rare, by the way. Most casters normally have to find their footing and make their name in something before they're exceptional. This guy just happened to be exceptional.
Well,
He's
one
a
thing I've
personality
always
too,
said,
about it, you know?
I've since the beginning, I've always said I could cast somebody microwaving a burrito. Like, this
Yep.
is just something I genuinely love to do. And like, as a kid, it was something I would follow my sisters around and like just narrate over them, or I'd be doing different accents in the mirror or something. And so it's just something that I've always enjoyed doing. Like, I've heard sports announcers, you know, I thought I maybe wanted to be a sports announcer for a while, but my passion in video games certainly was a lot more than it was in sports. Like, I played sports growing up, soccer, other things. Like, I enjoyed traditional sports. I was a hunter for like the first 25 years of my life. Like, I've done a little bit of everything, but video games has always been huge for me. I mean, I had a Nintendo when I was like 5 years old and I lived with my grandparents. Like, so video games certainly has always been a big part of my life, and it helped me, you know, in some tough times as well. So I think it was kind of, I'm glad that it came to be, but I consider myself very lucky.
Yeah. With arena casting in particular, it plays so differently from traditional esports shooters. What was the biggest adjustment having to make? Because, like he said, you come from a broader spectrum. You know, Cracked started it with arena, or Tarkov in general, I should say. Sorry, you having to kind of adjust to come over here. Was it pretty major, or do they fall in line enough together to where it feels pretty
You know, they
flow-wise?
hate when we, you know, they don't really want you to compare Tarkov Arena to, you know, another game per se. But for me, it was a lot like a Counter-Strike or a Valorant, right? At its core, it's a 5v5 and you're planting a bomb and defusing a bomb. So, you know, your double kills, your hypes, you know, I have my little sayings like popping heads and getting bread, and I have like little sayings that I use. So all of those kind of translate, right? It's just about learning the maps, the call outs, learning, you know, the players, what they tend to do, who are the well-known players, who are the shining stars, you know, and just more importantly, like making it exciting for everybody in the community. Like, not everybody likes that hype action, but it's what I like. So I just kind of resonate what I would like to hear if I was watching an esport. And so I think that's why I do well, is because a lot of times I don't know all the call outs, but I know how to keep the energy, excitement. I know how to, you know, hype everybody up and make everything sound exciting and fun. And so, and, you know, throw in the little rhymes and the different sayings, you know, like, this team is looking scarier than a gas station bathroom right now and stuff like, you know, it's just little things like that. And so I think go a long way. So for me, I don't think it was that different, to be honest.
What about the transition from doing Tarkov specific tournaments into arena tournaments? Was there a big transition or adjustment period for that, or was it pretty easy to just keep with the flow of it all?
Interesting. I think you got pretty lucky with yours, didn't you? Really, you came in as we did the 2 base game tournaments, but we were also kind of lining Arena up off of the back of that. We were pretty much into Arena at that point in time. So for Haught, it ended up being both straight off the rip, really, didn't it?
Arena was no issue for me. Like I said, than just learning some of the, like, you know, what was the meta builds and, you know, making sure that I had all my ammos right and stuff,
Maps.
you know, just, yeah.
Maps
and
was
so,
the big one for you to begin with, actually. I remember sending you the maps and you being like, that's the only
Absolutely.
thing I don't have. In fact, I'll tell you what he did. This is so crazy, actually. Coming from somebody who played a lot of 5v5 FPS and has a lot of knowledge in FPS backgrounds, Sauce actually taught me theoretically how it would be to prepare as a caster from this exact conversation. I remember him asking about Escape from Tarkov maps for us to cast with, and then him telling me about a folder of Counter-Strike 2 maps that he used to print out. And it was, I think you mentioned also that Llama and Kirk had done a similar thing. They printed out these maps and had a folder of them that they would just turn to the map on the day that they were playing. So they had the callouts with them. And I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. I should go make a document of the map. And we did.
Because every once in a while you have a brain fart and you might forget that call out. So you have a quick reference sheet, or if you're new, it's just really good to have there so that you know it. So
big brain, this guy, I'm telling you. But no, I thought the transition was pretty chill.
Yeah.
So for me, I played amongst the community with a bunch of Sherpas. I was like working around with a group of people from Dan Exert's community. My first real interaction with Tarkov and base game to start off with. And like Dan Exert's one of these people that he doesn't I don't want to say it in a bad light. His opinion is that Tarkov doesn't suit the competitive environment. And this is not a negative thing. I don't want people to think that he speaks of it in a negative way or I'm putting him in that negative light either. I'm just giving it some context. His perspective of Arena is that it's a different game to Tarkov, and I can completely see his understanding. Some people don't liken the two, although they come from the same sandbox. The pace, the style, the gunplay in Arena, even down to just the basic movement and how you manipulate your character now, is becoming separated from the base game. So for him, he never saw it being something that would become competitive. This was before Arena started, but I always used to have conversations with him because I've always been a huge League of Legends fan. So I've always liked watching competitive League of Legends gameplay. THRU, one of my favorite all-time Twitch streamers that I love to tune in and watch because I think his breakdowns are exceptional. The way that he talks about gameplay as a whole is just very fact-filled and informative for the audience. I think he handles banter and sledge really well as well. I think he doesn't rise to the to the heat on a lot of occasions where some people fold. They don't quite have the same resilience. So I have a lot of respect for that. And from that, I always hoped that Tarkov would have something with the same kind of hype. And although base game tournaments are great, the pacing of a base game tournament just doesn't deliver like a 5v5 environment does. I'm sorry, for me. So I was ready for Arena to be a thing. I've always been ready for it to come in and just be kicking. So I think I was kind of prepped from watching so much League of Legends casting that when Arena came around, I was like, yeah, sick. We're already there.
Yeah. What about with Tarkov Arena, the pacing can change on the flip of a dime, right? It can go from somewhere where it's a 5v5 scenario and they're just kind of pacing in towards the plant, or they're just getting ready to plant, just moving in to start the process of the fight for the deactivate. How do you guys keep the tension high when those situations go so drastically from one side to another? Is that moments where you just let the game kind of talk, that ambient sound kind of talk for itself a little bit, and then you get ready for what you know is coming? Or is it more of just like on the fly, just like we call it as we see it, and it happens to happen?
Depends on what pace you have it happen at. You get times where even as exceptional at your job as you can try and be, that even we can't keep up with that. Like, and we've seen there are a couple of instances where the kill feed is 9 deep. It's everybody bar the last man standing. Literally everybody falls over within the space of less than 5 seconds. And how do you commentate that? It's a bloodbath. It's a war field. It's a war zone. But you get 3 words. So it's sometimes you just can't
Glad
fight the pace of the play. That's it. Exactly. So that's Haught's hit the nail on the head, I think, for how that one gets handled. I think when the ebb and flow of the game is jaunty, it's your job to break the tension. It's not about keeping the hype up. It's about throwing a comical quip in at some point in time to distract the audience from the fact that the gameplay was quite jaunting. Like Haught said, oh, and there's plaid stripes in the kill feed as all the teams bleed and everybody's falling over into a set of sleeping lions. We've got one man left standing and he takes the round. The team in the right-hand side goes up 7-6, not 6-7 like the meme. Do that one for the kids. And that's it. Now everybody's thinking about 6-7. Nobody cares about what happened in the last 2 seconds because I made a kid meme. All right. Yeah. Like it's so true. And sometimes that's all it is. It's just distract, engage, entice, or create comedic value, and then just carry on because you just can't predict Tarkov. You really can't.
Yeah.
And when it's slow, you can use those slow moments to either touch base on something a player's been doing, or make notations on the mini map if you see a rotation come in, or just simply talk about some of the color, like what the new meta might be, or what these teams are running, and why this works for them, and why we don't see as many marksmen right now. You have a bunch of filler stuff that you can use that you do want to get in at some point. So when you have those slow moments or in between rounds, it's nice to have those. So you really just use that ebb and flow to your advantage. Like I have different things wrote down. I put everything on a notebook in front of me. And so like I have, different things. I'll even put my sayings on a notebook in front of me. That way, if I say one, I'll check it off, because I don't want to use the same saying. I don't want to say popping heads and getting bread 3 times in the 2 hours, right? So I do stuff like that because I know my memory sucks too. So I'm like, okay, I see it on my paper. I've been there. I've done that. Let's not, And so, I think some people maybe don't put it on paper. Maybe those younger people are able to use an iPad or whatever it is. But I do. I have little, cheat sheets or tips and tricks and stuff like that I keep.
You've just given me a new one, actually. I'm going to write that down. We've been there. We've done that. We're not giving out T-shirts. That's got to be a line we're going to get at some point. That's good, actually. We're going to write that one down. These things come out of nowhere. It's funny, actually. You've just reminded me of the Bepic comment we first met. So we started casting with Mr. Bepic, who is very good at his job through Hunt stuff, as he also came on board to help out with the workload as we spread between the two of us, whilst Blue stepped away to do some work stuff. Me and Sauce, we're like 2 little demons in a shop, right? Okay, we're like 2 little brothers that like to sort of to and fro about this sort of thing. So I was like, casting with Bepic, and I want to sort of get some feedback to see how he thought the casting was. But of course, I didn't want to ask him directly. So I said to Sauce, like, nudge him when you're next casting with him, be like, oh, how was that casting with Crack the other day? So you get a bit of feedback. And I'll never forget Sauce's response when he came in and told me, because he come in and he said, Bepic had said that the first time he used to watch me, obviously he could tell that I had the ability to cast. I had something to be able to cast with, but he didn't think that I was very good at my job, because it was always making like these cheesy one-liners, like the, 2s for blues, and she sells, and he's not selling any seashores, or silly stuff that didn't really make too much sense, or like you'd lean too much into the whatever it was at the time, right? Just the basic was I was a pun engine instead of a caster. And then but he backed it up with the floating like a Cadillac, stinging like a beamer, gives it 2 sides to the blade, doesn't he? A blunt edge and a sharp edge. And he come back around with it, and he was like, but now actually, since I got casting with him recently, he's really, really improved. He's come on a lot. And that to me, that was kind of like the first real, like, I've earned an accolade of respect in the area. Do you know what I mean? To hear somebody that, I mean, he's cast at TwitchCon, he's been a host for Twitch, he's done enough to earn himself a level of respect. If he looks across the table and says, yeah, I'd shake your hand with some respect, that's I feel like we're working the right way. So, it's very hard to get the respect of your peers sometimes, especially in an environment where it's competitive. Like myself and Haught and Mr. Bepic might sometimes be competing for the same job. And that's rough, because we're friends, we don't want to be fighting for money out of each other's pockets. But at the same time, that's how you push yourself to be better, because sometimes one of us might get the job and the other 2 let it down because we weren't quite at the top of our game. Well, we got woken up. Now it's time to get back to the grindstone, and we always push ourselves and each other to do better. A lot to give to this man below me, and definitely a little bit also to nod to Bepic for his efforts towards that as well, because I mean, he's definitely helped along the way too.
100%.
You guys have already spoken on this a little bit, but what separates a great Tarkov Arena broadcast from just calling the kills, and what moments do you try hardest to highlight?
Ooh, you go first. Go on, Sauce. You got this one.
Okay, so what separates a great Tarkov Arena broadcast from just calling kills? So, I mean, I feel like I do a lot of what I call just calling the kills. That's what I feel like I'm in that department. But for me, I just try to make it extra exciting. Like I said, I've always got, my extra little quips, my different sayings. So I try to make it exciting, and then you try to relate it to something, whether it be something that's going on in the world right now, or maybe you're just simply relating it to something that's involved with that team's history or that player's specific history. Like when I go into a match, I can't remember everything about the players, right? So I know who's playing a day before time. So I go in, I pull up my Liquipedia thanks to Sky Cycle, and I go in there and I look at previous tournaments, previous games, how they played, who did what, and I write all this stuff down on my piece of paper. So that way, outside of just calling the kills, when you're not doing that hype play by play, you have that important information to relay and tie everything together that helps you kind of create and help write that story, as opposed to just hearing double kill all the time. And so, there's plenty of great moments where you are just calling the kills, and it's great, and that's all you need to do. But you have to be able to have that middle ground to be able to tie things together and create those highlight moments. That way, when players watch it back, like I don't know how many players in the arena scene message me and be like, I love watching you back, man. Thank you so much. You best cast, like all this, they just shower with you praise, and you feel amazing because you know that your passion is coming out the way that you want it to. So I think that would be the first part. Wasn't there a second part to that? What,
Yeah, it
what
was
moments do you
just
try to
yeah.
hardest to highlight? And so, yeah, you have your standout players, and you have people that you like as well. And so whenever they have that pop-off moment, that 3v1 clutch, that 4v1 clutch, maybe they failed in the previous round, you're trying to highlight those big turning points in a game, those big moments for, what might not even be a standout player normally, but just has a big clutch. Maybe he's 4-11, but that clutch now just kept him in the game, and then they go on to win 2 rounds, put it into overtime, and they win. And so here's a guy that, maybe didn't have the best game, but had the highlight moment of the game, the turning point. So different things like that, I would say.
This is what pushes me to do what I do harder, to keep me relevant, so that I don't get beaten out to being the best caster known for Tarkov things in our little rivalry duo. So I'm glad he said it the way he said it, because I would have said the same thing, but it's disrespectful for me to have said it of him. He does call the kills. Like, he is the person that calls the kills, but that's part of what casting duos are. And it's about even just doing that the right way is something that you can just, and I think that's, it's the way you've worded the question is exceptional as well. I think Adizzle, he nailed it the way you spoke it out loud as well, but the expression of that, you are the one causing that, not it's an environment, right? You can just call kills. He killed somebody. Oh my God, he just slaughtered that guy, and this guy just got his head taken off. It's the same thing, but it's your pronunciation, your tone, your choice of words. It is a very different thing, even though you're doing the same thing. So I think Haught nailed it to a T. I'm lucky that I get the other half of what that duo is. For me, I wasn't, necessarily a versed caster when I started casting for Tarkov. So my exception or my skill was to know Tarkov. Like, I played a lot of the game. Like, I very much binged the game when I first picked Tarkov up. I played like 40 raids blind before we even started looking at guides or anything. So I fell over 40 times to scabs and everything before
Right.
I even started really playing the game. So, we really did the nitty gritty. And then through Dan Exert's community and how committed his environment was to providing good information, I learned about bullet calibers, I learned about ballistics, I learned about weapon platforms, recoil control. Tarkov was the first game I'd ever played as an FPS shooter on a PC, ever.
Oh wow.
And this, and from that, I went from being full noob to where I'm at today, where I consider myself a slightly above average gamer in the FPS environment, which I love because I can hold my own against most people, and I don't mind that. I get put in the ground equally as much by most people too, which is also fine. But I enjoy what I'm doing because I don't feel like I'm getting dusted off the street. So for me, that color section in the casting side of things, that's like the detail, right? Where Haught puts so much expertise into making the saying about the kills seem flamboyant and interactive and entertaining, I have to then back that up with facts. I have to be able to punch the gap in. Sometimes it's even reading what Haught said in the gameplay and being able to make that relative to what information I'd had packed up ready to go. And I think both Haught and I live this from a perspective where we cast as if we're sat in the player's desk. You've got to think that if that was your moment and you were piloting that player right then and you nailed that triple kill and it meant that much for the last round of a qualifying match, you'd want to hear the caster be like, he's around the corner. This last 2 kills against a member that used to play on the same team as him. They grew up together. They've gamed together. This is the rivalry of the season, battling it out here for a place in the semi-finals. He needs 2 more kills to pull off the upset of a season. They were down 7-8. They are now up 9-8, and this one to take it home. He gets the second, and who's left? Only his rival on the corner. Who is going to win that out? It doesn't fucking matter who wins at that point. Both of them are statues of gods, right? They're both, it doesn't matter whether the guy that's trying to take down the rivalry or the guy that's upholding the rivalry wins it out. For one of them at that moment, it's a great success or a great disappointment. They didn't quite make the mark, and it's about pitching that story for both of them. Can you make either way that environment plays out still be cinema? You know, the meme is there for a reason. Like that's what we pray for. And I have my favorites in my teams. I have my favorites in my players, just the same as everybody else does, because we have characters. Our characteristics and our traits make us adhere and endear to other people in different ways. But we love competitive gameplay. Like you give us a great match. It doesn't matter whether it's the worst 2 teams in the scene seeding wise or the best 2 teams in the scene seeding wise. If they go tooth and nail for 50 rounds back to back and it's great gameplay, you can give me 150 rounds of it. We will sit and scream about it all day long, 100%. And it really is just, it's down to the passion. If you don't enjoy it, well, regardless of which part you're speaking about, it isn't there. Like, I love seeing these guys succeed. Really do.
That was a great answer from both of you guys. Arena has a lot of visual and audio information, armor, ammo types, meds, sound cues. How do you guys decide what's essential to explain live and what to let the hardcore fans catch on their own?
Every time someone DMs me and says that was good, that's what I get the feedback from. When Haught says that he gets someone reach out to him, message him and be like, hey, you nailed this. The commentary for this was good. You hyped this well. The most of my clips that I get sent to me is when I've done a really funny clip that's related to somebody's name, like Ashtray Pot. The reason that the fire barrel on Bowl got changed from being damaging scenery to non-damaging scenery is because Ashtray Pot died to the fire in a comp game on screen, and the commentary line I gave him at the time was, an ashtray pot just got turned into a bowl of ash as he burns to cinders from the boundary. And it became a really funny commentary. It actually ended up getting the scenery changed in the game, so it made an impact. And he has that clip, and he always sends me that clip when we've not spoken in a little while and be like, I still remember this. And it's the same thing. Awesome. Is like, somebody reaches out to me and was like, I got a 2v1 clutch on site, but you realized that this guy was holding me so I couldn't aggro peek it, and you explained that to the audience. So I just listen to what people say was good and isn't good, because we all think we know stuff, but everybody has a different level of expertise. So I guess it's just through guidance.
Yeah. And honestly, like, most of the time you're always keeping, you're touching base on what's happening in front of you. And then when you have that slow time, that's when you can talk about, well, I think he's doing so well because, right now this gun is, we see it with the AK-12 too. It's just got great ammo. So you can touch base on the different ammos, and then, or if something crazy happens, like, maybe it's not something that's normal. They hear a certain cue that maybe a normal person wouldn't hear because he got off the bomb or something like that. So at the end of the round, you can say, well, I think, this happened because he was able to tell by, and you can kind of explain it or elaborate a little bit more. But I feel like as a whole, you're not going into some of those insane intricacies too much unless you see it kind of happen, and you still have some slow time to talk about it. Because the most important part is, like, you don't want to be talking about why this scope is good when there's a double and a triple kill happening, and someone's popping off, and you're still explaining, why they're using this scope or something. So you kind of use the slow times for maybe some more of that, like, subtle or intricate information.
The minimap too. There's a lot of 5v5 gameplay, Tarkov or other platforms relevant, that the macro is actually a large part of the game that below a competitive level doesn't exist. You go into your pub games on a night time. Nobody's looking at the minimap a match afterwards and going, "Oh, you were out of position here. You overpeaked here. You were too aggressive here. We should set up smokes like this. We should set up nades like this." It's very rare it actually takes place. You get to a competitive level, that's how the beginning of every team's gameplay is built off of, is the minimap, tempo, timings, what's good to smoke, what's not good to smoke, what's a good line of sight for this weapon platform, what map fits certain ranges, how does my team's play style and players play fit all of that. Like, it gets a lot more detailed. So I think for us, it's understanding the cutoff between what the pro player needs to know and what the audience needs to know for relevance. Like little things like, oh, if you look at the minimap now at 1 minute and 25 seconds left on the clock, 35 into the round, there is a member of the defending side that has moved off of their site and is rotating on a flank aggressively. You would maybe call that out as a commentator because that's important. If that person makes first contact, the audience is going to want to know because they need to know that's about to happen for that to be hype. If that person just starts killing people, that's when that conversation we spoke about earlier, that jaunty flow comes in a bit, and that's when you have to kind of kill the hype. So it's being ready to present that to the audience when it needs to happen. Like I guess the key part of that is understanding the game rhythm as a whole, which I think comes from experience both playing and just watching a vast amount of it.
You know, and that's why it's important to have good observers as well, because your observer needs to be recognizing and paying attention to that mini map. And sometimes we'll touch base. Well, you can see on this flank, so-and-so are about to go head to head or something. And so it's also, you know, we always talk about it. The people behind the scenes don't get enough credit as well, because it takes a team. And so they have to be constantly, sometimes it stinks. You can't even be looking at what's happening in the game. You have to be looking at that mini map to see what dots are closest together. Where should I be going? So that I know that I'm going to be showing some action to the people. Because if you don't, you know, chat say, well, we watching this guy for 30 seconds and there's 2 kills in the kill feed. Like, everybody could do a better job until they do it, right? Type stuff. But so, you know, it is important as well. But, you know, we pay attention to the minimap, but it's, you know, our jobs are easier because we do have good observers.
He said type she. He's like,
Yeah.
we all do that.
Well,
Right.
and
We do.
I can kind of speak on like the much lower level of that. I commentated for the arena or the Sherpa Hub arena, and while
Nice.
we had some issues from start with the website we were using for cameras, we had issues with spectator view or the mod view, whatever you want to call it, the tournament view. So we only were able to have people in match spectating and jumping from camera to camera. And just seeing the difference in only getting certain angles and never really knowing what's happening on the map and not being able to see things, it not only makes it hard to call, but it makes it extremely hard to watch. So, like you said, they don't get enough credit. Those guys behind the scenes that are like making sure everything's lining up with what you guys are talking about, making sure that they're seeing the big plays, making sure they're hitting the right the right views on the camera at the right times. You know, there's an art to that as well, and it is very impressive to see it all come together. And I think a lot of people take for granted the amount of effort and the amount of manpower that it takes to really put these things together and do it well.
Backside of that, agreed as well. Double down on that too. The work that goes into the work that goes into the production, and I mean what I say there. It's not a stutter. The prep work to prep the guys that do the spectating, for example, like the spectator crew before we started HPL4 had a full session where they went through a camera session together. They had people with them working on how to pilot the cameras, how to track the grenades properly. I know, for example, and you know, I'm sure that they probably wouldn't mind me mentioning the name, but I'm going to keep that one for their sake just in case. There was one of our crew members that was even up until the early hours of the morning actually sitting in with a couple of pro teams in a scrim. They'd allowed her into the scrim to practice the nade tracking just so that they could go in and be in the environment itself at the pace that it's at to practice following the loop in Bay 5, because Bay 5 has so many roofs, angles and walls and stuff to go over. It's very hard to actually keep that camera tracked. So there's a lot of effort that goes in from not just the spectators, but some of the crew that work behind the scenes that have worked with them to help, you know, train them, get them to the point where they are, you know, doing the best they can with it. So, and this isn't like a hard tasked job, you know, they're not like clocking a card in at 9 and leaving at 5 kind of thing. There's a lot of volunteered time that goes into this, you know, from these people that after hours, outside of hours, it's past an extracurricular hobby at this point. It's a passion. Like I say, it's a personal project, but a lot goes into it. And, you know, there's a lot of organization behind it too. I think we definitely don't say thank you enough to HuntPremier for all of the all of their stack that we've had the fortune to work alongside of. Honestly, I think everything that's been about anything that's been useful from me has stemmed from there. So I owe them everything, honestly, at this point in time. This man and them guys over there, between the two of them, that's me as a whole, honestly. There's been, I owe them a lot, honest.
Yeah, it is. It's an impressive feat to have everything come together so well and to see it just flow perfectly. So I would imagine that you guys get, not just you guys, but HuntPremier, everybody on the sidelines, everybody in the back line, everybody up front. I would imagine that there's not just a sense of accomplishment once it's finished, but a sense of pride that goes into every time you're getting ready to step in and hit that go live button. Like there's this feeling of I assume this feeling of what would be the word for it? I can't think of one at the moment, but there's this feeling of pride that goes into it when you are in that moment and you're about to click live and you know that the people that are doing it, running the cameras, the people spectating, the people that are getting things set up, that they've done their job correctly, and you guys are at the most ready you could be with.
Every time we're about to go live, I'm like, yep, this is going to be fun. This is going to be great again, and then it ends and I'm like, man, I'm proud of everybody. Everybody did such a great job. This was fun. It was just as good as the last one, if not better. Every once in a blue moon, I'll be like, okay, I feel like I could have done a little bit better today. And then that next day I come back with the fire, and sometimes, I've always said it doesn't matter what job you work, whether you're flipping burgers or you're the CEO of a company. At some point, you're going to make a minor mistake or a big, whatever it might be. You're going to make a mistake in any field that you work in. We've seen doctors leave little like scissors or different things inside of people. You know what I mean? Like even doctors who shouldn't make mistakes at times make mistakes. So you have to be willing to just, especially when you're casting, because you've made a mistake. If you dwell on it or you're thinking about it, the rest of your cast you're going to have more mistakes. So you have to be willing to, almost like we say when players have bad rounds, you GGs, you go next. You toss it out. You can address it later when the show's done and how you want to fix it for the next time. But in that moment, you throw it out and you keep going. But yeah, we have the whole crew at Hunt is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, if we're ever not feeling great before we're about to start a broadcast for whatever reasons, you do get out of bed in the blues some days. Sometimes you're not feeling it, but I think I'm the same as Haught. I always talk back to the first question TFG asked me when I sat down next to that friendly guy for the first time at Insomnia. He asked me, was like, are you nervous? And I'm like, no, man, I was born for this. You do just feel like that when you get like the minute to 30 seconds before you're about to cast, like regardless of where you were at beforehand. For me, I think of casting like most people I think of gaming. It's an escape. I'm in my happy place when I'm yapping about competitive gameplay, so I don't care. Like whatever could have happened for the day, for that 2 hours to 8 hours to 12 hours to 16 hours or whatever it is that we're talking for, I don't care. The world is going on around me and I'm locked in to seeing 10 to 12 to 15 of the best people at their skill level across the world competing over pride, bragging rights, and maybe some money, depending on the tournament, right? That's it for me. That's true, competitivity. And I love a challenge. I've always loved the challenge. It's why I liked the puzzle games as a kid. It's that challenge. And it's not just me overcoming the challenge. I like seeing other people overcome the challenge. I'm one of these saddos that sits at home and watches the giveaway videos, the people that go and walk around and pretend to be blind, and then somebody will walk up to them and help them, and then they bless them with like $1,000, and then they bless them with a house, and then they bless them with like 25 grand afterwards as well. I love those videos, man, because that's like if I had a liquid kind of finance, that's where I'd be out there giving, because there are so many people who go through lives that don't deserve the outcome, I think, where it's been taken out of their skill set, out of their hands to be able to achieve sometimes, whether it's through means of their own, whether they are at fault fully, half, partially, or not at all. There is definitely people that still have the good in them to be able to be helped and to help themselves. So I love seeing that kind of stuff, and I think that's where we're at for gaming. If I can do my little bit as one peon in the ocean of millions of people, and I can help influence people to game the right way and enjoy competitive gaming more than they already are, then that's what I'm there for. I don't like negative gaming. Me and Sauce had a conversation about teabagging to begin with. I don't like toxicity. And what I've actually found recently after playing a bit of comp is I'm actually a little bit toxic, which is really funny because I never thought of myself like that. But I've had a few people recently turn around and be like, I don't think you realize how toxic you really get. And I'm like, well, yeah. I said to this man, I was like, I don't agree with teabagging. But he actually changed my perspective on teabagging. And I'll let him explain to it. But I've said to him the first time, I was like, I don't teabag. I just think, like, why are you getting on the PC to wind somebody up? Look, at the end of the day, it's an escape. You get on the PC to enjoy yourself, to have a good time. But his response was, I'm not teabagging him to piss him off. He's like, if you're getting mad at me teabagging you, then you should be getting off the PC. Like, you need to go and touch the grass. He's like, I want you to come back and kill me and teabag me back so that then I can come back and kill you and teabag you back. And that's what I enjoy. I enjoy that dog eat dog until one of us is champion and one of us just concedes. Like, all right, I give up mercy.
I mean, I grew up on Halo and stuff, you know?
Yeah,
so like that's all we did. And I for clarification, I don't teabag. My balls are too big. I potato sack.
Potato sack. That's vile.
The dust kind of just billows on the edge of the sides as he sits down. There's a bit of a waft from underneath as they spread. Crazy. It's aggressive CPR. Yeah, it's aggressive CPR. He's trying to get him back to life as quickly as possible. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
But there is something to that competitive toxicity that is okay. While I wholeheartedly
there's a right and wrong way. 100%.
I'm so against negative gaming, and I think that the world is too full of negativity. And I think, you know, if anybody that watches the podcast here, they know Adam and I, but like we don't like that nonsense. I will say, when I get into competitive shooters, especially arena, I do get toxic, and there's people all the time because I have the green name. They're like, "You're a Sherpa," and I'm like, "Yeah." But that's on base game. You know, I Sherpa base game. On arena, I'm just playing. And I'm sorry, but sometimes you gotta talk a little shit, or you gotta, you know, teabag a little bit to get that other team to push back, because sometimes the game's boring. Sometimes, you know, you're playing a guy that you've played several times over and over and over again in arena, and you know he's better than he's playing. So, you know, you kind of push him out of it a little bit. And same with like friends and stuff. If a friend dies and I teabag him, it's because I want you to do better. You know? Like, and I know you can do. But no, there is like a right and a wrong way
to let them know that I'm better.
That's also fair. Yeah. You know, you need to catch up to me. No, but there is some good in a little bit of toxicity within your game. And it's also, like you said, Cracked, it's a release. But it's also kind of a release. Like, we have a lot of tension in life. We have a lot of like pin-up stress and nonsense and stupid stuff happening. Sometimes it's okay to just be like, you know, you let it out a little bit. Not saying like go rage at some teammate or go rage at the enemy, but like a little friendly competitive toxicness is not so bad.
There's a right way and a wrong way for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can't condone my behavior recently. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been outside watching back a few clips last night and actually started scratching my head a bit and being like, is this really where we've got to? Like, it's just kind of a bit sad. But I kind of become the justice police. I get a little bit irritated, it seems, in arena when people take util off of the table and don't use it properly. And if they do it multiple rounds in a row and I can tell they're intentionally trolling me, I start team killing people for that. And I really shouldn't start team killing people for that. I'm going to be honest with you.
Team killed you. That's crazy.
That is wild.
They only get a bullet in the dome if they don't manage to get out of spawn and use it before I've killed them. If they've already thrown the grenade, there's no point killing them. I want the util to be used. I'm doing it for the effect of that util 4v5 could be better used for us to win the round than my man flashing all five of us at the gate, because that's the one that really gets me. You want to mess about with your mates, that's fine, but don't mess other people's gameplay up. And that's where I'm at, is it's like, you're not just trolling me, but you're trolling the other three people in my lobby that might not know as well as I do, that might not be able to do something about the fact that he's blind for the whole round. Whereas I'm confident that with 35 seconds left on the clock, I can probably take 75% of the lobby I'm facing. I'm happy with that just out of experience now. They might not be. And the other thing is as well, it's not the first round. I'm not killing the guy at a spawn because he took my nade the first round of the match and I didn't get a lethal.
It's the
We're talking about it's the fifth round after I've asked him twice in spawn. I've been like, hey buddy, do you want to share the grenades? And he said no, or he's then proceeded to flash us because I've asked to share a grenade. And then he's proceeded to flash everybody the next round and take both grenades and then leave the bomb somewhere outside of spawn. And it's like, come on man, we get it. You're a big shot. You've got a huge dong, fine. Put it to bed now, all right? We're past the childish games. We're here to try and compete.
Point, they deserve it.
Yeah,
that's when I got
at that point.
See, I'm one of these people that doesn't like killing them. Cracked in my name and take all the nades and don't use them. Okay.
We used to ask it on the podcast.
Everybody's going to know now.
You guys asked me actually about a podcast and stuff, because I mentioned that I used to run something for the Escape from Tarkov Arena. It was one of the questions I used to love asking on the Escape from Tarkov Arena podcast, the Welcome to Arena podcast, was, what makes you crash out the most? And I used to get some great responses from the pros of being like, from somebody being prone to somebody using an enforcer kit to, you know, not being able to hear, to all those great things, right? You want to wind me up, you want to see me crash out, steal my util and throw it out of the map 2 rounds in a row. Just all of it. Steal the entire team's util and just throw it out of the map 2 rounds in a row. Honestly, I've never all F4'd out of a game and quit before finishing a game before in my life. I've never ever raged. Not been one for throwing pieces on my desk. Never been that kind of guy. But you do that 2 or 3 rounds in a row in an arena game, especially if I'm trying to help somebody else in my lobby do their quest. That's it. You'll see the keyboard will go, the mouse will go, the monitors will be off. I'll be honestly, that's probably the only thing that can make me crash out thinking about it.
I get pretty unreasonably upset with people taking the utility and not using it. I'm guilty sometimes. I'm like, forget I'll have the grenade prepped and I'll let it go soon. I'm like, oh god, I feel so bad about that. Like they're probably yelling at me, you know, because I expect it.
Let's say
you don't take
last
the
video,
utility
I
and
seen you throw
not
the
make
nade.
productiveness out of it, you know. Yeah, I lobbed it off
You
to the side
accidentally-
because I
yeah,
keep
yeah,
like
yeah.
right clicking back in after tabbing out or
But
something
are you
stupid.
trying?
No,
Does
but
it look like
that's
you are trying to do something with it? 'Cause
Yeah,
that's the thing
exactly.
with
That's
me.
the thing.
I don't mind a bad nade. I don't mind somebody throwing a nade out of the scenery if I can see, like, he's watched a video and he's trying to throw a split
right.
nade,
He's doing
or
something. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine. You got to learn somehow.
Learning
and I'd much rather
lineups,
everybody
doing this.
ran for the util and I didn't get a nade or a flash or a smoke, and they're all throwing them because they're learning. I'm so down for that. I'll even sit there and sit behind them and I have done before. I've sat and commentated.
yeah.
People would be like, EarLegAthlete sits inside a med short. He's lining up the smoke, the tip of the thumb on the corner of the box, over to the left a little bit, and a release. It's a goal. It's a field goal. That's a 10 out of 10 smoke throw. Just because it's fun for them. They might have thrown that smoke for the first time in their life, and the commentary makes them get it right because you see where they're doing it wrong. But
right.
I like that. I just don't troll me.
Or 5 times they do that 5 times in a row, and he kills them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, the 5th time.
Or
4, okay,
Yeah.
4 or 5.
He's
5,
learned
you're
to
crossing
use a
lines.
grenade now.
Yeah. I like telling people the lineups on grenades too. I'll be like, hey, do you know how to throw this? Because like I'll see them take it a round or two and then they're just kind of wasting it. And it's like, well, you know, we have reasons to throw these things like for certain places. And then I'll just kind of go around the map and try to show them different spots that they can line up and stuff like that. So they're, you know, sure. But sometimes people take the grenades and either they don't throw them or they throw them irresponsibly and they just like troll you with it. And it is so frustrating. I get it. I've yelled at so many people. And there's no real reason to be that upset about it. You know, it's just utility grenades. You're not going to get the kill every single time anyways. Right. So it's okay. But yeah, it infuriates me. I don't understand why.
It's amazing the smallest of things that wind you up, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah. And people
I
going
play the least
prone.
toxic
That one
player.
sends me
The least?
over the top instantly.
Yeah.
Dude, Adam is so
I
chill.
don't take it serious. Yeah.
He doesn't care.
The only
Couldn't
thing
care
that
less.
actually gets me upset would be like the guy in 4th place starts going crazy and yelling at yelling at the 5th place guy because he has 1 less kill. That drives me insane. 'Cause I'm like, dude, you're not doing much more. Like, leave it alone, you know. That's
It's always the
only thing
guy
that
at the
gets me.
bottom of the leaderboard that is the best coach. It's
Thank you.
always the
Yeah.
guy at
Yeah.
the bottom for something.
Yeah.
Like I'll hold tab and I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, was that you talking, Leroy?
Yeah.
Shut the hell up. You 2 and 4 down. Shut the
2
hell
and
up.
4 with no assist, 1
We
capture. What are you doing?
literally, 3 days ago, we literally opened the scoreboard up. I'm 21 and 10. Haught is 17 and 10, and we are hard carrying this guy that is 1 and 7 and 6 on assists. All right, fair enough, he's got 6 assists, but the 1 and 7 guy that is 5th on the leaderboard is screaming at our 4th place that is 5 and 5 and is holding the other site whilst we've got 2 defending members alive and there's 1 on either side. And he literally tells him to leave site and then screams at him for losing the round after giving him bad info to make him lose the round. I just can't. Like, you're not even above him on the scoreboard, bruv. What footing are you standing on?
Yeah, it's
like,
wild.
do you have any self-awareness at all? Or are you just doing it
Everybody's
for
fault
troll?
but
Like,
mine, bro. Everybody's fault but mine.
You see that a lot in like your arena shooters too, right? Like your Overwatch and stuff like that. Man,
Oh,
people
yeah.
are
Yeah.
really bad about
All
it
of
in
them.
kind of games. They just
You always
never
blame
their fault.
somebody else.
yeah,
I
it's so
get
much
it.
easier. Yeah,
I've been there.
it's a fun environment.
I watched a Rick Kakis video. I can't be doing it wrong. Destiny fans will enjoy that one.
I do know that. Yeah, we found out that there's a little commonality amongst us outside of Tarkov too. Even like in I just learned the Overwatch side of it, which apparently you played Overwatch 1 or you played Overwatch 2. Crack.
I'm
You
more
said
of an Overwatch 2 guy myself.
Oh, you played Overwatch too. Well,
Oh,
as
I'll
well.
slap
You
it
play, you
Overwatch,
also
bro.
played
You don't
Overwatch.
even want.
Okay, yeah.
I play every
All right.
role, dog. I'm
Hell
nasty.
yeah.
And I hate Overwatch. I've never played it. So
Same,
this is
I hate Overwatch too.
Yeah.
fun fact for everything TEC. The games that I cast at TEC for the first time with Haught were also games I'd never played.
Mhm.
So I'd never downloaded Rocket League on my PC ever in my entire. I still haven't to this day. And I've cast multiple games of Rocket League. Same for Valorant. Never downloaded and played Oh, no, actually, no, that might be a lie. I think I may have played 1 or 2 rounds of Valorant with
I
its
play
dirty
them all. I love
download.
them all, man.
Counter-Strike. Never downloaded and played. Always wanted to, actually.
Really?
Counter-Strike's one never played any Counter-Strike in my life. I would
That's
definitely
more
get down with playing
surprising.
some Counter-Strike
Yeah.
with people.
Yeah, he said Tarkov
so
was
never.
his first like PC shooter that he.
Well, that's true.
started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
First one that I started with, when Tarkov kind of died off a little bit for me was when I sort of discovered Destiny 2. That was the link that we found. It was like I played Destiny 1, the Red War stuff happened. I stopped Destiny because of the Red War. Still really disappointed about that because it was one of the best campaigns they ever did. And then when it started coming back and there was, threats of the stuff being re-released, I started playing again about Witch Queen time, which is when I stepped away from Tarkov to have a little bit of a break. So I blasted a whole load of stuff out from Destiny, and that's actually where I met the guys from the Hunt to start doing my Hunt stuff. Walker, Iron Fist, Philbo were all streaming at like 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. in the morning the one night, doing a blind Vow of the Disciple raid, where they were learning
Nice.
the raid from scratch, but
Yeah,
without any
yeah.
guides or anything.
Yeah.
And being a Destiny at the time, I was sat watching Walker, obviously having known him from Tarkov stuff previously. It was like, oh my God, he's playing Destiny, and I'm a Destiny guy. I should go watch and maybe help him. So I sat in the chat quietly, and it was a no backseating policy, and they started asking questions. So I answered a few, and eventually ended up them dragging us into the Discord and being like, right, come here, we're gonna basically use you as an info book, but don't give us spoilers. Like, we're just gonna ask you questions when we want info. And it ended up us playing some Destiny later on. We ended up going and doing a raid binge, a lot of us, until 20 past 4 in the morning, where I think a couple of raids, we were trying to get Vex Mythoclast, and we stopped at one point just before we finished off the last raid because Iron Fist went to make himself a tuna sandwich at 4 in the morning, which I thought was hilarious. And it's become a bit of a ritual now. If I'm awake gaming at 4 in the morning, it's a tuna sandwich time, just as in memory of that. Because, yeah. So we got Vex Mythoclast, we did the 2 Destiny raids, and the boys were like, oh, Tarkov stuff. And then from there, it just kind of, we knew and spoke to each other. That was kind of the first interaction. So, yeah, that's kind of how we got into casting as a whole, really.
So have you casted Destiny like PvP trial stuff or
sadly not? I would love to.
Yeah.
No, I would love to. CB Gray and Evan, amazing. Love their content. What they do for the raid race, unbelievable. I'd jump on there as a third for that panel quite happily. That would be an amazing goal. If that happened, like if somebody ever reached out and said, "Would you want to do it?" I'd drop everything to do that. It'd be super cool. I feel like Destiny has a good opening for PvP. The problem with Destiny PvP is obviously the Destiny PvP players think it's as jank as the Escape from Tarkov PvP players think that the arena's jank. It's very much a comp scene environment. Is it could always be better, which is the mentality of the top tier players. So it makes sense.
As it should be. Yeah.
So I would love to do some Destiny PvP casting. I know there are some tournaments out there, but I think I'd like to maybe in the future look to host one of my own, just a more fun based tournament, be a charity fundraiser or something like that, more just to see because there are some exceptional PvP players in Destiny 2 as well.
Insanely cracked players. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And Haught, what is your background with Destiny?
Me, I played Destiny 1 when it came out religiously because I was a big Halo guy. But I still have on my YouTube, I think my first 3 videos I made were Destiny PvP montages. And that was before I really streamed. This was just when you could say, Xbox record that and you got a 30-second clip. And so I pieced them together. And so, yeah, I have some ancient montages from Destiny back in the day. I loved it. I played to House of Wolves and then didn't play again because I didn't like it. I tried Destiny 2 when it first came out and thought it was ass and just never went back. And people are like many months down the road, they're like, oh, they've had these updates or changes. It's better now. But I was so far gone that I was like not interested. Like I've got Tarkov, I've got Valorant, I've got Counter-Strike, I've got Overwatch. I play Marvel Rivals. And like I've been a leaderboard chaser for a long time in a lot of games. I won a national championship in 2004 for Halo. Which kind of ruined my college career because I got a bunch of money and spent it on non-college things. I was
colors.
number 1 in the world in Halo Wars for 6 months with the Brute
sick.
Chieftain. I was 27th in the world for the finals when it came out. So I've been I'm getting old, but we still got it. So
all
but
good,
I've just always been into that. I've got a couple buddies that are very competitive gamers as well. And so, I remember back in Counter-Strike when we had a clan in like 2000, I think it was. And we all had, back then, everybody had 56K dial-up. So we would drive 40 minutes north on the weekends for our clan matches so that we could play on cable modem and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I did enjoy Destiny, but like I said earlier, like I literally play almost every game, and I still play things like Valheim or other stuff like that. RV There Yet, Pummel Party,
RV
other
There Yet
fun
is
games as
great.
well. But
Insane titles,
I'm a gamer, and I am a competitive gamer. Like I'll turn something that's non-competitive like RV There Yet, and I'll make some type of competition in there for us to have some fun with. You know what I mean? But like I said, with anything, there's a right and a wrong way. Some people can take it too far. I like to think that I don't, but maybe someone else can tell me different.
I don't have any accolades, I think, to back that up like that competitively wise. I think the best I ever achieved, shall we say, if attempting to achieve, was being placed in the top 10 Clash of Clans clan in the UK. I think at one point we used to play. I'm a big Clash of Clans nerd. Three accounts, all TH15 and above, with like probably about maybe 11, 12 years of the playtime.
Are you in the leaderboard for any of those Crash Bandicoot maps yet? I know this man was be speed running, dog.
Oh my
you
god,
speed
no.
run.
Do you know what? We were okay. So I don't speed run, but I am a huge Crash Bandicoot fan.
Yeah.
And my fiance bought me the original remastered trilogy for the PC for my birthday, and then I actually treated myself to a controller for the first time for my PC this year, because I'd never been a controller gamer on PC. I always played, like, console was controller, PC was mouse and keyboard. Just always loved the aim, just the more accuracy. Always thought this was superior. But there really are some games that you can't play on a mouse and keyboard. Crash Bandicoot is one of them. You need the button response time, the trigger response time. And I remember, and Sauce remembers, I spent like a good 6.5 hours trying to do the first level, the speed run for the first level to beat the dev time for the game. Or your hooker. Oh my word. Like, I'm not kidding you. I was rubbing the ends of the nubs of my fingers solid on the keyboard just to get the slide cancel timing, because the buttons were that irresponsive of it. And Haught had seen me swearing at it for a good 2-3 hours.
And how?
Stepped away.
Yeah. What are you playing Crash on? Through an emulator? Through an emulator?
Steam. No,
on Steam.
Okay. It's the remaster.
Oh yeah, you're doing official runs. Yeah.
So I went and got this, and we went back and we got it. And I'm not going to lie to you, I went in third run. I smashed the dev time by 2.5 seconds, because this is unbelievable. The difference between this and that is crazy. I just couldn't slide cancel with the right input timing for the PC to recognize it on the keyboard as quickly as I needed to than what I was doing with this. So I said I would have a go at fully speed running the game once I got a controller, because the newest Crash Bandicoot they released, and I want to get the right name of this because I'm going to forget the right name of it. It's like Crash 4, It's About Time or something, I think it's called. Let me check. Yeah, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Okay, this game's 100% platinum completion rate is a 0.01% of the world completion rate. It's an 80-hour average speed run time to complete. That's 80 hours to 100% speed run the game. Not to casual complete it, to speed run 100% in the game. Now, to 100% Crash Bandicoot speedrun, you need to collect all the collectibles, complete all the levels in an inverted version, do the time trial on all the levels, collecting the platinum relic or above, not the dev relic. The dev relic tends to be an obnoxious level faster than what the platinum relic is, because of course they know how the maps work. They designed the darn thing. So any quick skips, any glitches, any shortcuts, they know them off the top of their head. And of course you don't see the dev ghost, so you don't see how they're doing it. So you have to figure that shit out. And it really is, I just love that complexity. Like I said, I love a challenge. Speedrunning is the highest challenge you can get.
It is absolutely the highest challenge you can get. Is this speedrunning glitchless, or
yes,
for the 80-hour timer it's glitchless? Yeah,
yes.
100% glitchless.
Yeah, that's glitchless. Yeah, that's 100% glitchless. Yeah,
I assume glitched is like ridiculously.
69.
Yeah. Wait, 69
69
hours?
hours. 69
Oh
hours.
shit!
There's
It's
only
not. So it's not
there's
even
only
that.
4 drastic glitches that make a massive difference because of the collectibles. It's still 100%
Oh yeah, true. You still have
the
to go
game.
through.
You have to still go back. There's like
Yeah,
3
there's
shortcuts that allow you to clip into the scenery to go and collect collectibles ahead of when they're available. So there are certain levels that require you to fulfill a bonus hidden thing for the gem to pop up before you leave the level. For example, the blue gem requires you not to break a single crate. So until you get to the end of the level, past the last crate, that blue gem is actually hidden underneath the ground. So you have to clip out of the ground to collect that on a run where you do collect the boxes. But there's only 3 or 4 versions of that to be able to do. And that's why the glitchless version doesn't actually really take much time off of that speedrun as a whole.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be substantially faster. That is, I mean, 11 hours is not
much at all.
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's 3 maps basically.
Not when you're
it's 3
looking at
maps
80 hours. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
You should watch the speedruns of that. In fact, I'll tell you what.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah.
ZEM. Go watch ZEM. Zem's 100% completion of it. It's not a speedrun one, but you should watch the 100% completion. I think that's
Just
the best.
Yeah.
Just the best experience of what that is as a whole. If you're looking to entice yourself in something, and then you can understand the gravity of the challenge. But yeah. We're planning on 100% completing that game on stream at some point for people to watch, and it will be pain.
Yeah.
It will be absolute pain.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love speedrunning. I can't do it. Right. Like I probably could. Like saying can't is a bad thing to do there. But I haven't, and I don't. Partake in speedruns. But I think the amount of detail that you have, or the attention to detail that you have to put into a game to be able to start figuring out these little nuances and skips and little steps, and oh well, if you start off this square when you're like there's just a lot of nuances involved with it, a lot of intricacy. It takes devotion, and a passion towards the game. Because it's not as simple as just hopping in and doing it. Sure, maybe some people, there's cracked people out there can, but you really have to learn a game inside and out to be able to really break down how to run that way. So I find that extremely interesting. I love watching speedruns. One of my favorite hobbies to do when I'm not like spamming anime or something on my third monitor. But like, yeah, speedruns are cool, and I like there's a lot of appreciation to people that do them. So, dude, yeah, let me know before you get live and knocking that out because I want to be there. That sounds awesome. It would be a lot of fun to be part of. Yeah.
Certainly will. I'm actually really surprised that we've not seen more Tarkov players come from speedrunners of the other game, because I think the one thing that both players need is an advanced level of discipline. Like the speedrunners, there's a drastic amount of what goes into a speedrunner, which is just repetition, like actually putting reps in. I mean, I know that like Destiny 2 raid speedrunners, for example, they put reps, like hours and hours of sessions into running the raid over and over and over to beat that time. Even if they just run a single segment, like teams will run first or third encounters 16 times the one day before they do any actual runs to perfect that specific environment, or
do you remember
trade, or
figuring out the Crota skip for the first level, first phase to skip that? Dude, it took so many days of just like beating our heads against how do we do this faster. It's insane.
I never interacted with speedrunning up until very recently, I'm going to be honest with you. It was not something that I had a massive passion on myself until I watched a load of speedrun content. So I've always liked challenging games, and it's been very hard for me since growing up playing Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank. When you were a kid, those things were challenging. Because you were still getting to grips with mechanics and stuff now. Like, I run around Ratchet and Clank now as if my guy's on ice skates. Like, that guy flips, glides, flies, and shoots bullets out of his wings most of the time because I'm too busy adding input. So it just changes a little bit more. Speedrunning then kind of gives that childhood nostalgia back to the game while still giving you the level of challenge the game originally gave to you. It's like, okay, you can slam this into the park now, just casual completion, but how perfect really are you? Like, did you notice the real nuances of the game when you were playing as a kid? And I think that I think it really appealed to me. What actually inspired me was that friendly guy. There's one doing a massive subathon the one time. And through doing it, he'd gotten through one of the games. One of his redemptions was to have him play a random game. They played thousands of games, and he found a game. And what they basically said is that they were going to try and get into the Guinness World Record book for speed running one of the games as part of it. And he did. I think he ended up he ended up getting the world record for, and I can't remember the name. It's like Shopping Tycoon Simulator or something like that. You'll have to ask him. All right, honestly, you should reach out to TFG and ask him about that. But he holds a Guinness World Record for one of the games, or like a first place speed run or something in the category. I think it is now. But
that's cool.
I did not know that. To me, I was like, I don't think I have the commitment or the skill to be able to get to do something like that. TFG strikes me as just, he's an exceptional gamer, but he is still just a gamer, just like everybody else is. So him breaking that boundary for me was kind of like, oh damn, maybe I can just sit down
Another
and,
level
like,
of
just
Yeah,
apply
like
some time to it. It
it's just
doesn't
commitment,
require
right?
that, like,
Yeah.
the gift. You can just put time and you
Yeah,
will be able
yeah,
to eventually
yeah.
achieve.
The commitment to it, just being willing to I say it all the time, beat your head against the brick wall, right? Skill check after skill check, and it's the same for even speedrunning. But no, it is cool. Like you had said, you know, these games as a child were extremely challenging, but now as adults we can smash these things. But it's also a testament to developers of games and things, because being able to look at a game from two completely different perspectives is really interesting. The levels didn't change, you know, the gameplay didn't change, everything's the same, but looking at it as a child versus as an adult, like you just see different solves for puzzles, you see different ways to get through maps, and everything is a little bit different because of your perception of everything involved. And it is really a testament to just like how much effort goes into game development in general. And to get back on track with Tarkov, we'll segue very nicely right here. So Nikita has been ramping up with these Twitter posts over the last week or so. Very cryptic stuff, a lot of puzzle solving going on there. We have extremely talented solvers in the community, by the way. I don't know if you guys dive into that kind of stuff. You put the tinfoil hats on. It sounds like you do. But, you know, there are some people out there that as soon as you post these things, they're already on top of it. We seem to be working towards the Icebreaker ship, right? Like, I think that's kind of the conclusion we've all wrapped up into. That's what everybody seems to be pointing towards. What are your guys' thoughts and opinions about the Icebreaker ship, and what would you like to see the event be like? Do you think it's going to be sort of a solo player experience? Do you think it's going to be something that we can run over and over? Or is it going to be time gated like Terminal? You know, again, just thoughts and opinions on Icebreaker.
I'm just keen for more content as a whole when it comes to what they're threatening in the future for the game, both base game and arena as a whole. I think obviously the pictures that we've seen for Icebreaker and End of the Line.
That's also true. End of the Line, I should have mentioned.
Give me another Labyrinth. We said this on the newsreel, but I'll say it again, and I will say it until we get the event dropped. Like, the Labyrinth was the best received, the most entertaining, and the most challenging event that we've had, full stop, from development, from Battlestate Games, I think. There's one of their crowning glories in the entirety of the development process. I think it stands up there as one of their top 3 deliveries as well for a patch as a whole. You remember Labyrinth coming down? Do you remember any issues that day when it went live? I remember specifically commenting on there not being issues when it went live, funnily enough, which is a crazy thing to say because it was such a rare... We have server days. I mean, the first day Tarkov goes, unfortunately, it is what it is. The servers go on fire because there's so many of you darn souls out there trying to play it. Well, you know, more power to you. Crack on. Like, we all love to interact with the game as soon as it goes live. So definitely a lot of heat.
For me, I think there are some teasers in there for the Icebreaker. I mean, that last one with the coordinates, and they talk about it being on the shoreline map. I think there's some coordinates near the sunken village or something like that. There's something referencing checking dead bodies at a specific time. So I wonder if it's, you know, like you're going to go on the shoreline and there's a chance that the boat may be there and there's a chance that it might not be there. I do believe on Tarkov TV, Nikita mentioned something about it being a transit style map like the Labyrinth is. So I'm with Crack. The Labyrinth was one of my favorite events. In fact, as soon as it came out, I made a PV account to go and make sure I could get to it immediately and do it and unlock both achievements. And that was the first time I had ever created a PvE account. I genuinely enjoy the Labyrinth. I love it. You know, I like what they did with the bosses. Hopefully, you know, we've gotten a lot of stuff for Tequila and Killa, though, so I'm ready to see stuff for other people. I hope maybe there is a new boss on the Icebreaker, maybe just a new one altogether. But, I mean, who's not excited for new content, right? I think that's just so cool. You know, we heard Nikita's passion when he, on that show, on 1.0 release. We're happy it's done. We're happy 1.0 is over, but we still have a lot of work to do. There's a lot more stuff that we want to do, both in-game quality of life and new stuff. So I love the fact they tease some type of chemical in that one post as well, the Nergalium or something 79. And so he's also talked about, maybe certain raids with like different radiation or things. So I wonder if like, Icebreak maybe eventually will lead to something else to where we have another event where you have that radiation, something like we saw in the past where, if you don't have that immunity built, you have to have those stims or you're not making it out of raid. So obviously it's just speculation, but I like the cryptic stuff from Nikita. Like I said, Nikita's outlook on a lot of things in the last year, I think has changed for the better. Getting to speak with the devs and stuff, as we always say, I think really kind of increased our passion for it as well. But I would love to see more and more events personally. I think it's something that will keep players kind of coming back over and over, because a lot of times people will get so far in the game and then they take a break and they go play other stuff, or they're done with Kappa. And so I think events is another good way to kind of keep people consistently involved. So I'm excited for it though.
I like all the cryptic stuff that's come out. Honestly, it was something that's always appealed to me from the Destiny side of things, and even more so in Tarkov. I like the world's first races you mentioned. I like the environment of that, people finding something for the first time, whether it be discovering how to DPS, discovering how to escape. The entire concept of that like puzzle solving thing is a big part of challenge for me. That's something I really do get on with and endear to. The ciphers, it's like Da Vinci codes, lettering. There's numerical based ciphers there. There's algebraic based ciphers there. There's non-vowel based ciphers there. Like the way that it's been played with has been really good. I don't actually get into individually going and doing this stuff myself. Actually, it's one of the things my ADHD doesn't handle very well at all. I get very frustrated 2 or 3 minutes into the hard concentration. I am more blessed to sit and watch the people that are amazing at this kind of stuff. I mean, there's I'm going to forget his name now the time that I want to remember it, but oh, come on. British bloke. He does does a ton of Call of Duty stuff, and he's just recently been playing Destiny. What's his name with the long hair? Miles, not Miles, but what's his actual online name? Not Bog on My Dog. Come on, bro. Oh, man. I can see him. I can see his icon, and I can see his YouTube. I can see his Twitch. I just can't remember his name. He's a massive Call of Duty Zombies Easter egg guy. Like, he does huge videos for it.
Yeah.
And he came and he played Destiny recently
with
Datto, and I can't remember his name. Rufflecopter.
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 Okay,
Rufflecopter. No, Ruffle Waffle.
Mr. Ruffle
Mr.
Waffles.
Waffles.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Mr. Waffles. There we go.
Yeah,
There we go.
Yeah,
okay.
there it is.
Mr. Ruffle Waffles.
Yeah.
I don't know why I couldn't remember his name. That guy, right? That's the kind of stuff I like watching. People like him that have the brain, that bring a community together, that start a big spreadsheet up, that collect a load of things and then all compile it, and then somebody explains it to you. Because I like seeing that group of people come together and crack the code as a whole. I think that's kind of more the experience than it is one person racing to do it first. So the fact that these things are given out as a community, and it's like, oh, are we going to potentially do what Destiny did best when that first dungeon was dropped in for Shattered Throne? You rolled into Destiny that one day and you rolled into one part of the environment and there was a hole in the rocks that you could go through, and suddenly you got a darkness zone. You were like, wait a minute, I can die here? What's going? And then you realized you were in a brand new dungeon that there'd been no patch notes for, no release information. It was just there and you had to figure it out. That's like real magic in a game for me. So I'm looking forward to seeing whoever it is that comes across this boat, because I think Sauce is right. I reckon there's going to be somewhere, whether it's at the pier, whether it's off by Scav Island, or
the lights will shine the way, right? Is what it says. The lights will shine the way.
How long have we had those bollards?
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
We've seen the pictures of it, and it's around these blocks of ice. So it's like, where could that be on shoreline? I can't think of the spot. Like, I can't think of that spot on any map.
Is it just a maybe concept art type situation? Is it something that maybe when we transition, it's part of the process of getting to?
You don't know that, like, when you go to that pier, you're just taking a submarine or another boat out to the icebreaker, right? It doesn't actually have to be on that map. It is a transit still. So you could potentially hop on another boat, ride it out. That's the transit process. You're just sitting on this boat waiting to transit, but then, it takes you out to the icebreaker and things like that. So,
I mean, I'll go one further. I'll throw you a fantasy out there. Sauce, what about Iceberg? What if What if, all right,
The
because we've been
arena
told that
map?
there is an arena link into the story. What if we go on the boat from Shoreline to Iceberg, which is where they took people trying to escape from Tarkov to fight in the arena to be granted passage to leave? What if this is just another evolution to the story? What if Iceberg is actually a map that's part of Icebreaker, which would be the end of the line? You get off the boat, you either fight and die, or you fight and you leave. The theory behind that, I mean, it's very far-fetched, but it's a possibility,
Well,
right?
I mean, hey, crazier things have popped up in Tarkov, right? I
I think,
about it.
like you said, there's a lot of good people out there that have cracked a lot of stuff. So if you've read the post and kind of dove into it a little bit, you'll see, kind of where I've gotten some of my information from as well. Because there's a couple people in there that have talked about it, but so I don't know, like, it seems like that it's pretty much given that it's Shoreline. But I guess, I always say I'm good at being
Shoreline
wrong.
to
It doesn't mean
where?
that other people can't be wrong. Well, again, it's, they talk about the pier and stuff, but again, I think you're going to be taken somewhere else because they give you
Right.
coordinates. And if you put those coordinates on the map, and then
Right
there's
outside
already
of
been
Tarkov.
there's already been people that have shown the Tarkov map and the other map. So it's to a different location. So we would presume that that's probably where the ship is. So that's why that's why it made me think that maybe we're taking a boat somewhere else. I've always thought that Icebreaker would maybe potentially have something to do with Iceberg because they came out around the same time with a similar name, but I just don't know what that would be, if anything, to be honest.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
Because
also
they've already shown the Icebreaker map. We know the map is that
is the
giant
ship.
ship.
Yeah. I mean, it could
They
be a
also showed the
continuation down the
four-wheelers.
road, right? Something that evolves
You're-
over time as we.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you got to fight in an Iceberg match and get first place to win a ticket,
And
to
that's how
be
you
able to get
transit
onto the
over?
fucking boat. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Well,
Like, who
yeah.
knows?
So the most recent transcription that got cracked that gives the information for what we were looking for reads: the transmission is successful. Nergalium 79 is stable. The shipment is staged at rendezvous point near my friend. Watch the shoreline. The lights will guide the way. Don't trust the unknown. Map, shoreline, the pier, and sunken village. Check dead bodies 0300. So to me, that reads: there's a compound we don't know about. Stable. Shipment staged is going to have that compound on it. We find it from shoreline. The lights are going to guide the way, meaning the lights by the pier will probably tell us whether we are or aren't going to be able to get on the boat or how to get to it. You're not supposed to trust the cultists, which I'm assuming the unknown is. So I'm going to assume that it's going to be guided or protected by maybe something similar to Zerachi's sniper guards. It might be protected unless you have a certain way to get in there, which is what it's talking to the effect of you checking the dead bodies at 0300. Now it says map shoreline, the pier, and sunken village, which leads me to believe that you want to be in the sunken village, which is where the cultists can spawn, just up from
This is
there.
where the dead body is going to be.
And the dead bodies are inside of that sunken village too, inside some of the buildings. And I'm wondering if there is going to be something which you can put into the cultist circle. Now, if anybody's paid attention just yet, there is a box open in your cultist circle, in your hideout, that allows you to put an item in to empower the rewards. If you actually look a little bit deeper into it, there is a cultist medallion, or I think it's called like a talisman, I believe it's called, that you can put in to empower it. Now, I'm wondering if that's where the cultist talisman is coming from. We're going to check the dead bodies, and that might give you the talisman, which you put in the cultist circle to send to them to give you something to get a pass to the boat.
Can't you get that same talisman from the Lightkeeper though? When you're
Lightkeeper gives it to you.
You could.
Yeah.
Is that still is that still how do you still get it?
Yeah, you still
Post
can.
1.0?
Once you get,
yeah.
Once you get so
Lightkeeper
far
yet,
in his storyline, you can still get
that
it.
way the cultists don't attack you, and then you can get up close on it with a double barrel and kill them, and then it breaks the talisman, and you have to go get another one.
Yeah. Adam was getting ready to bring up a point too from the concept art that ties the cultists in with what we've seen.
Yeah. It shows cultists riding four-wheelers up to the icebreaker, coming across like, a snowy like bank or something. Like it doesn't show much, but it definitely shows like outside of the ship travel, like to the ship. So it could be a like bigger area than just the ship, I guess.
Well, tying the talisman in with contacting cultists in some way to be able to get something or some form of transportation out to Icebreaker, I could see it all kind of flowing together. I mean, lore wise, anytime you want to get in touch with cultists, you leave some sort of symbol at one of their places, and then from there they'll get in contact with you. So I mean, maybe we're interrupting some sort of dealing or something going on, and we're gonna bypass the whole process because we've been told not to trust the unknown. But that's again, Tarkov BSG. They do so well at giving us just little bits of crumbs and pieces, just enough to speculate, just enough to make you lose your mind about what could be happening. And then typically they go above and beyond expectation. If
Do you
you
want another
even,
crumb?
yeah, feed me,
All right. Well, so you know how BSG likes to develop things in the game by testing them through a different, slightly shadowed event, and then you see later on what it was meant for down the line as it comes, and you're like,
Right.
oh, that's what that event was testing.
It
for,
adds
because
up
it's got
now. Yeah.
yeah. You remember Zerachi when he was pretty much unkillable and he had like loads of health and stuff for that Halloween event?
Yeah, the Halloween
You mean
event,
the
yeah.
event I couldn't finish?
Yeah. Do you remember there also used to be those cultist bosses, Oni,
Yeah,
Harbinger,
we have begged for them to
Ghost.
come back. Oh,
Well,
which we had them like right at the end of softcore.
yeah, we did.
So you remember super high health Zerachi? What came very shortly after him? Some pretty high health bosses in a labyrinth event, didn't they?
That's true. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Only Ghost and Harbinger have gone for a little while, man. They've been gone for some time. This is a cultist-based event. I would be so fucking hype if it's an Icebreaker event where only Harbinger and Ghost are the ones that own the territory. I'd love to go in there and fuck about with their shit.
Absolutely.
Imagine it's covered in cultist markings. You've got weapon boxes that are like open but broken open on the tables.
Right.
You've got like a jank looking, really hype, I don't know, like a Mark 17 that's maybe missing the buttstock or so. Some of the more elevated weapon platforms in a jank sort of style. Maybe you find half a Bitcoin, not a Bitcoin, but it's a special style of half a Bitcoin that's been bitten in half.
Right.
It looks like it's got something crazy like that. Or you get like a poisoned stim, you get like a jank stim that doesn't actually do what it's meant to do. It's like ECG6, but it's got like a brown bottom to the white part where it's out of date or something like that. I don't know. I just feel like that whole arena could have something cool to it. And
it could.
Something tells me we're getting like a radiation coming in with it as well. The more the gas masks start to get the stats and we've seen these symbols, something's coming, I feel.
And it's always been something that they've wanted to do. I mean, we've even had the one event, I don't remember how many wipes back, whatever, but where there were radiated zones and you had to have certain stims or you had to have the gas mask to be able to, traverse through these things. And I'm pretty sure we've had Nikita even say on one of the Tarkov TVs that, down the road, potentially, maybe there's like high loot zones inside those radiated areas that, you can head into, but we've yet to see a lot of that, and like we all know and have talked about over and over, they are busy with a lot of other things going on. Implementing all the fun into the game isn't always the first priority, and obviously they don't want to dump it all at once either. So it's like it's this anticipation of all the stuff we've gone through in beta, just waiting for it to show up in 1.0, base game, just so we can have the opportunity to repeat these things, time and time again.
A lot of great events over the years.
Yeah. What were one of your guys'
get the credit? They sorry, real quick. I was just gonna say BSG, their storytelling and their lore, man. Yeah. It's probably the best in gaming, man. It's great. They do not get the credit they deserve.
If they
knock it out of the
do
park.
A dungeon event and there is an achievement for escaping the map, and it's like a difficult map. If I see it and I see the first person going into it and it's like it's an actual puzzle to escape, then I will be looking to do a world's first event for it. If they give us something that is fitting of a world's first host and broadcast stream commentary and people are interested in watching it, I will absolutely be putting together the team to do it, because from watching that stuff from Destiny, CB Gray and Evan,
so cool.
Their stuff is amazing. And I think this game, if it's going to produce like do you remember the Call of Duty raids they brought in that were kind of like, they were there for a couple of times. They did the longer, like puzzle style things as well as the combat.
Yeah.
That kind of went down quite well too, to be honest with you. That kind of hit for me. So I feel like that also was missing a little bit of that world's first feel to it. And I think that those events could be hyped up to a competitive level that would actually be quite entertaining for folks at home as well. I'd be curious to know what people thought on that, actually. I would be interested to see what other people thought about that one.
If BSG do decide to implement something like that into Tarkov, that would be phenomenal. That would be, phenomenal is probably the best word for it. Just their level of storytelling, their attention to detail, the passion that they put into the game. I think they could
World
do something
building.
really cool for a form of a world first race in mind. Some really interesting puzzles, and I think BSG could knock that out of the park. Absolutely. But yeah, speaking on events, what were some of your guys' favorite events throughout the past? Like, what were you guys really in when it happened?
I enjoyed PAX West. I thought Seattle was amazing. I enjoyed the event
Sorry.
at Paris Games Week. We went in person, honestly.
I meant in-game events, but I'll take this answer as well.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy the environment around Paris. In-game events wise, Labyrinth, 100%. I really enjoyed the one in-person live in-game event where the sky turned a different color, where the clouds came over and everything went wild for a bit, and it hit midnight, and then we had everything come into the map. That for me, that was like a real cool feels. As a community, we were all told to get on the game at a certain time and be available because something was going to happen, and it then delivered. Games didn't crash. People didn't get logged off. It just happened, and it was kind of really cool. And I miss that, actually. I wish we could have more of that. In fact, if anything, I think that was probably. Does that peak Labyrinth? Maybe. That's close. It's a tough close one.
Labyrinth is good. Labyrinth.
That's close.
I mean, it's a cool event just because everybody got together and you could be in raid and see it happen as if everybody was together. So I think that's why that was so cool. But as an event as a whole, and like, and the Labyrinth has stayed around, I think, because it got such good feedback and it's such
everybody begged for it to stay.
Yeah, and so the Labyrinth was, like I said, I created a PV account just to go do it. Like I really enjoyed the Labyrinth.
Well, I think they
What
smashed
did you
it
guys
out
think
the
of the
park.
zombie event?
Ooh, what?
I didn't get to
Labs
play
and
much. I was unfortunately
It
doing
was
other stuff
wild.
at the time, and so I didn't get to play much of the zombie event. I played a little bit, and I heard a lot of people griping about like zombies being too strong. They should have been able to be like one headshot them basically and stuff. So I heard that there were some quarrels with it, but unfortunately for me, just because of different stuff that was going on in my career and stuff, I was kind of learning and playing some other games at the time.
I'm
It
with
was
him all
fun.
the way
There
on
was
that one.
definitely some things that needed fixed, and that's why I'm happy that Nikita has already said that they plan to do a updated zombie event. So I'm looking forward to that one because I loved it. I mean, me and Ryan, we played. Well, I think we
So
did the whole
much
event, didn't we?
zombies. Yeah, we
Yeah,
played
yeah,
every single
because
day of the event, dude. It
we
was so
finished
much
that.
fun. Well, and like, sure,
Yeah,
it got old after like 2 weeks of like nothing but zombies. Whatever. We were
Well,
also doing
some
it on
maps you couldn't
PvE
find
too.
zombies.
But yeah, I think
Like
if they could
on
work out a lot of
woods,
the
no zombies were
technical issues.
spawning. Yeah, it was just a few bad things like that that really brought it down, and a lot of people that didn't really, a lot of newer people had trouble just because they didn't know what they were walking into when they got into it, and basically they just couldn't survive. Like we couldn't survive at first until we learned how to. So it was just a very difficult event. I think that's why a lot of the player base complained. But
Yeah,
as far as
loading
like just
labs.
what they did, that was one of the
So
coolest
cool.
things they've did.
Absolutely. Loading into labs for the first time with zombies and not knowing what was about to take place, not knowing that, they're not going to chase you in certain doorways, certain places they just won't come into, locked rooms specifically. I don't know. We probably died a couple times just like running around trying to hoard a bunch of them together, running into each other and like, oh no, I brought mine to you. And like, but yeah, zombies was just a really cool take on something like Tarkov because it was so far from expected. It was probably the least expected thing to come. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Do you still prefer that zombies or Call of Duty zombies?
Call of Duty Zombies has the Easter eggs and has, depth within it. I think if Tarkov has their version of zombies and brings some depth to it, not just like, oh, here's hordes and hordes of zombies. I think Tarkov could potentially take it leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
Killing zombie wise and just like the way it played out, introducing the exploding canisters at the same time with zombies shooting at them was an interesting take, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. I was having a blast with it. Every time I died, I was like, that is absurd. It was a good time. I'm not the biggest Call of Duty fan, but I think in the exact moment, Call of Duty Zombies just has that depth. You know what I mean? The Easter
it's polished. Call of Duty is polished.
The power ups.
They've got it down.
And they've been creating zombie games for a while, right? Like this is kind of like an experimental thing and like you said, Nikita has plans of changing it. So I think we'll get a little bit better a feel on the next one. But for me, Call of Duty is just So
Yeah, after a few years of playing, it's like eventually I just got burnt out.
Same thing, just rehash, rinsed and repeated
Yeah,
over and over.
yeah.
mhm.
And
Like
gaming
for a
is repetitive.
while,
That is a cycle of gaming, but it's just too.
well, for a while they were doing pretty well at creating different experiences every year, but then it just got after the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. After that, it's just been the same game pretty much every year. Warzone completely killed it as far as like creativity,
Yeah, I
in
like
my
back when it
opinion,
was like
anyways.
War to War, the old World War II
Yeah,
one they had. I
yeah,
like
World
the
War II. I
old
love World
iron
War
sight
II.
style guns, and the old guns was a
Yep.
lot of fun. But for me, majority of the time, I was a little bit more of a Battlefield guy. Those two most
Yeah.
recent ones really stunk from both. This newer one from Battlefield isn't as bad, but for me, I tried playing it, and I just don't have Tarkov ruined me for that. I think a little bit
It does.
because
It absolutely
the
does.
sound of the guns themselves, the intricate parts of
Yeah.
modding the guns, there's just it just feels so good shooting a Tarkov gun, and so, like, some of that other
The
stuff,
level
you
of
just
detail is unmatched.
yeah, and you don't get that same like, yeah, you get some crazy, maybe quadra kills or pentakills, whatever. You can have pop-off moments that are fun, and it's still hype, but it just doesn't match that adrenaline rush that you get.
Right.
Even when I play PvE, like, I get an adrenaline rush in Tarkov, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
weird because I
absolutely.
typically don't enjoy stuff like that, but so,
I played
yeah, I think
PvE for a whole year. Like I got hooked with
yeah,
it. Like I loved it.
same.
Yeah,
Um,
I know a lot of the community just strongly dislike PvE, and I do, kind of understand some of the complaints, like, oh, you're splitting the player base. But I don't know if a lot of the PvE players would actually play PvP. I think a lot of people bought Escape from Tarkov PvE because of that specifically.
Because it
Um,
became PvE, yeah.
yeah.
I
Now,
I I think PvE is great, I really do.
I agree.
I
I
do
get
Yeah.
too.
so tired of people complaining and whining, like, let people have their fun, like, yes, you want some crappy new people so you can just shit on them and have fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
that's a
fun for me too, but, like, this could be a good stepping stone for them. Maybe they do 2 seasons or 2 wipes or whatever you wanna call it
absolutely.
of PvE, and they're like, "You know what? I think I'm feeling pretty confident about these maps now. I'm feeling comfortable.
Mhm.
I'm gonna give PvP a shot." Like, I used to just rat 24/7 when I was solo. Then I played a whole wipe of PvE, and, like, it made me there's certain maps now where I feel much more comfortable from doing the PvE that I run around, and it causes me to die a little more, but I feel more comfortable because I did it in PvE, and so, like, I just started a PvE account today. I have a couple new buddies that are playing, and they don't know anything, and they don't have time to devote to play PvP like that, and so I've been running with them, helping them out a little bit, and it's fun getting to hear them, like, they treat PMCs as if they're real people, like, "Oh my god," like, and
Right.
hearing the emotions that I've gone through while playing and getting to watch that play out in front of me, it's a whole new excitement, it's a whole new
Yeah.
thing of fun for me, and so I enjoy PvE. I think there's too many grumpy people in the world that just hate on too many things, like, just let people have their fun and encourage them to get better in PvE, and then encourage them to take that next step into PvP and just instead of just shitting on their fun, you know? Again,
Right.
like as we always said, there's a right way and a wrong way, and I think sometimes people just get too in that mindset of me, me, me. What makes the experience better for me? What I want the best for me when it's, there is a bigger community out there. Let's see the community grow. What's best for everybody? And so sometimes I think it's hard for people to see that when they're living in the moment. We're all guilty of
It
that at
is.
times,
It is.
myself
Yeah,
Sure.
it
included.
is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Same here. But it's
You
like,
give
it does it seems like that's probably the best way for new players to adapt. And I think that, there's always been guides and whatnot, but what better than actually being able to go into game, learn the maps, learn the guns, learn the ammo, learn the scavs. Like you get to pretty much learn everything. And it's like eventually you probably will cross over to PvP because they are two different things. And it's
Mhm.
something that I think we should be able to enjoy both of them.
And if they
I do
don't, who
anyways.
cares? Let them have
Where
their
does
fun
that
with Tarkov.
Right. Yeah.
Thank
What's
We're
the
you.
still
matter? They're,
Where does
generating
that
revenue for
complaint
Tarkov.
work? It doesn't even play into its own sense. You're complaining you want these people to play PvP so you've got more people to kill, when if you realize that if you take them down the process the right way, they play PvE, they enjoy PvE, they find PvE is a little bit too easy for them and they get hold of it, and then they come and, oh yeah, play PvP like you wanted them to in the first place.
Mhm.
Oh, come on, man.
Insane
Just
how
a
that works.
little
Like, we
bit of
have so many new
investment
players with
to get some
1.0,
back.
and, like, I don't wanna
Yeah,
scare all these players away. Like, if they come and everything's as hard as it
exactly.
was for us, like, there's gonna be a lot of people that just don't have that grit and
So true.
determination. Maybe they don't have that time, maybe they work jobs, maybe they got whatever the case is. I don't want to scare off all these new players. Let them come and enjoy the game for what it is, and then let them take that step if they want to. It like whether they're there or not, it doesn't matter. Like you're going to continue to do what you're going to do. So why be miserable and bitch about it all the time?
Christ
Right,
help
exactly.
them. If it's
Yeah.
really that
Right.
painful to watch, then get off your ass and give them a hand. If
Yes.
it's really that difficult and you're really that passionate about it, if it really
Yes.
hurts you how bad they are that much, then do
Valid.
something about it. If you
For
have a
real,
shit
yeah.
job, you go and get a better job. If you have a shit house, you go get a better house. If you break your car, you fix your car. If you break your toe, you complain about. Okay, maybe the toenail doesn't work, but you get the gist, right? Like,
Right.
if you don't like what you're doing, you go and do something about it. And I'm sorry,
Well-
that's it for me. Like, just help, man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's there's this level of like, well, I'm at this point in Tarkov, and I'd rather just be able to shit on everybody under me instead of saying,
Mhm.
okay, well, what can I do to come up to that next level so I can stop getting shit on?
Yep.
And using that as a crutch to complain, I guess we're getting a little on things. Kind of dialing in on a
I
specific.
mean, don't get me wrong.
instance,
I would
though.
love to
It
have all
is
those
the
new
truth.
players so I could look good too. I would love for me to be
Exactly.
a shining star right now, but it's okay if I'm not. Like, let them have their fun.
I see
I
enough new
mean,
players
they're
in
probably-
PvP that there's still new players in PvP.
Yeah.
Like
I'm always
all the
killing
time.
new players all
I've
the
even
time.
been killed
yeah.
by a couple.
I'm always
stuff
dying
like
to new
that,
players
what
as
the
well. Yeah,
hell?
that's
You know,
true.
but
Yeah.
that is how Tarkov works. Like, you can be
Yeah.
a shittier player and kill somebody better than you if you have the jump on them, or maybe you were ratting up in a building, or maybe you were just looting up there and you happen to be there as they're running by and you get the jump on them. Like, you can still be not the best player and kill players that are better than you in Tarkov, which is another thing that makes it cool.
I took a 4 mil ruble loadout in the other day. 4 mil, right? From the quad nods all the way, double built 2 guns. I built 2 thick guns. One I was giving admittedly away for a test drive build, but you're fully decked out, advanced tube. You're spending lots on the kit. It's 2 kits with the kit. And I'm in there with 4 mils with the rubles on me, and I get slammed by a guy with a 1.87 KD, less than 100 hours in the game, and it's his 4th raid. But
Absolutely.
what it reminds me of is the first time I killed somebody and I went
Yep.
into their inventory and their inventory was blacked out. Do you remember that? You remember
Yep.
way back when the beginning of White meant searching everything. I missed that.
Yeah.
I
every
missed the
single item.
feeling of the first time you dropped someone so thick that you didn't know what he was wearing. You had to examine his
Yeah.
stuff. And you were like, oh my God,
had
this
not
guy
seen that
God,
on
he's
your-
juiced.
like, oh
Yeah.
my God, this gun has like 12 attachments and I don't know what
Yeah.
any of them are called. Like, holy this thing actually has a stock on it. Like, it comes with a stock, guys. Not like the scav gun without the dust cover and like
No
the
dust
this
cover,
has
no
a
nothing.
stock. It's got like paint on it. It actually looks real. This guy's got ammo. You know, you read the name of the ammo. It's got more letters and numbers in the ammunition you can comprehend because you're used to seeing PS all the time. You were lucky enough if you were playing 9mm and you got PST. That was it, right?
Yeah.
That was your entire experience early game. So it was like you killed the thick guy and you went berserk. You went absolutely mad. You were like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. What do I do? And 9 times out of 10, you died on that body. That was part of the experience.
Spending 20 minutes trying to loot everything. Yeah.
Exactly, because you min-maxed for the first time ever. And then you realized how hard Tarkov really was. You were like, oh,
there's levels you didn't even process and understand yet. Yeah.
Now what do I do? You know, like I've got over the biggest hurdle. I've got to put this on. I've got to get rid of my stuff. I've got to find a way to an extract, which of course then that's the next greatest problem is you do finally loot that guy the second time you kill him. And you go, right, so what do I go now?
Yeah.
Which way's out? Like, what am I looking for? You start watching a YouTube video and then you die because you're watching the YouTube video trying to find your way out. Like, you know, that fresh first raw experience of Tarkov, the first 100 to 1,000 hours of that game, is an experience you can't get anywhere else.
Nope. I still remember my first big kill. I had a PM pistol and I bumped into some guy like right over a hilltop. Like we just ran into each other and I just hip fire, you know, that's out of being scared, just not knowing what's going on. And I instantly dropped this dude who has a fast MT, face shield, pitted M4. Like I didn't know what happened. I was like, oh my God. And you know, it's stuff like that you just don't get in other games. The ability to be competitive with the weakest gear and still drop someone with the best gear is something that separates Tarkov, because a lot of games miss that part. Always having a chance is something that it matters. It makes the worst players able to still, you know, have that moment no matter what. And I think games they mess up by not giving that,
Agreed.
Yeah,
At the same
yeah.
time, I think, this is something I talk about in Arena all the time. I would love to see some type of economy system built, because when I cast Counter-Strike and things like that, there's so many crazy moments where a team is on a save round and they only have pistols. And it's rare because that's the way it should be. But, maybe 10% of the time they win that round with pistols. So I would love to see that kind of implemented into the game, where maybe there is just a pistol round. I don't know exactly how they would do it yet. I've got ideas on it, but that's something that I would like to see implemented, because I think it would create a little extra spice to it.
Yeah, I agree, though. It would be interesting to see some sort of pre-match round to be able to determine like who's the attacking or defending. That. I think Arena still has a lot of potential for where it could go with game modes and options within those game modes. I think the other night on one of your streams, we were talking about like gun game and stuff like that. Even just different little fun things that they could do. 2v2
awesome.
duels on dorms, but it's specifically only 3-story. You're fighting inside. Like there's so many subcategories that they could get into. What are some options that you think would be pretty interesting to see in Escape from Tarkov Arena?
Mass onslaught melee.
Oh my god, yeah.
Mass onslaught melee only. I want to see a championship where the entire community divides itself into north and south across the globe. We literally split the world in half. Half of the world is north, red team. Half of the world is south, blue team. They get pitted in stacks of 5s, and the last man standing scores a point for their half of the poll. And we just have a massive community event where it's melee only, and we just do 5v5 melees, run it down, big onslaught matches over and over and over until we've settled it. Yeah, Bear versus USEC, don't matter. I want to see mass community matches with
like
hatchets, with Red Rebels, with Tagilla.
M2 swords.
Exactly, the whole nine. Give here's an event for the one time, for an event, one time unlock only. Get access to Shadow of Tagilla's axe, Tagilla's sledgehammer, and let them go at each other with those, just for the one time. For the one time,
cool.
as an event, I'd be so down.
I like it.
I could see them doing something like that. I really could. Like,
Mhm.
I think there's so much more they can do with Arena, and I feel like they're going to also.
What would you like to see implemented, Haughtsauce? What game mode or
I mean, I think the gun
style?
game thing would be cool. I think those 2v2 duels or 3v3 duels would be cool. I think even just in Blast Gang, just that knife fight at the beginning, and the winner gets to choose attack or defense, because I'd love to just, like, we've gotten to cast a couple knife rounds. I know Ski Mask Timmy used to do some fun tournaments, and we saw him a lot there. But there was even like an HPL or something where we got to see a knife round. Maybe it was a Pinnacle. I can't remember. But and they're just really fun and exciting. So I would like to see something like that implemented in there as well. And then the fact that we've already seen some base game maps now make its way into last Euro, or in Arena through last Euro. I would like to see some of those base game maps in a Blast Gang or something. And whether it's dorms or something new, like I'd like to see more base game themed maps in the Arena scene. And bring back Sawmill.
Yeah, I was gonna say we used to have old
Sawmill.
Sawmill, right? that was always a really cool map to play on. It had some issues, of course. You could first you could jump out of the map, or out of the spawns, right, and go grab the sniper rifle before anybody else and get set up. But yeah, it was fun.
Too.
Eyeside was lethal. Yeah, there were some rough angles there. But yeah, totally. I don't know if a Blast Gang map would work on dorms, but I think it would be hilarious lot of just greasy PvP happening to get that plant, or to clear the team. I just think it could be. But I love dorms. Dorms PvP is like one of my favorite things to do in Tarkov right now. Pushing for marked room happens. Always been fun. What about inside of like your casting and these arena tournaments? What's one of the most clutch rounds that you've been able to cast, and what was that feeling of like excitement and just like how did you bundle it all together and present that to the people? Because again, when you're casting, sure, you're presenting to people, but when those moments happen, we're still gamers. We still get extremely excited, and while that's part of it, I'm sure Like you got to keep your head about you in some way, shape, or form, right? Or
I don't know if I actually cast the most hype round that I've ever experienced, actually. I think the most hype round I think I've ever cast would be an NA Pinnacle. It wasn't the most recent one, it's the one before. Actually, Yuki's ended up getting a 2v1 on site where he snaps to the second kill. And the snap to the second kill is like right on the timer of the bomb being defusable. It's like within milliseconds of the end of the raid. It's so ridiculous a clutch. It had me like reeling in shock so much that I remember miscasting his name. I remember calling him somebody else on his team because they've been popping off so hard all game that Yuki's had kind of like, after having a quiet game, he just pulled off the one round right at the end that like properly had, and everybody chat as well. The whole people watching at the time went ballistic because the transfer flick for the second shot was just unbelievable. But the most climactic one for me overall, I used to play Div 2 comp arena, semi-comp arena, I guess we call it. And one of the ladies on my team was called Hellcat. And I remember still in our first and only recorded victory on screen that we played. We've only played, I think, a couple of tournaments. We played a little bit, but we played more for fun than competitivity, I guess. But the one match we did win, she got a ninja diffuse off. And I just remember us all sitting there and going, stick it, stick it, stick it, stick, because we knew full well that nobody else had a clue she'd got on the bomb, because we barely knew she'd got on the bomb because it was so quick to get on site. We were just like, wait, we're like 4-man retaking here and nobody died. We killed 2 people. We have full site control. Like, I'm about to, as IGL for my team, turn around and tell her to stick it, and she's already on it. I'm just like, stick it, stick it, stick it, stick it, stick it. Yeah, and that was it. And we won. That was our first win of ever being on screen. Was like we won that match off of that play, and that was elation for me because I didn't make the play, but sitting and watching somebody who we played together for a while, had improved, and she managed to pull that off on screen. That was an achievement for her, and I was like really proud for her for that. So that was a really big one for me.
Yeah,
you
awesome.
cast
That's
that,
cool.
didn't you? You
I
cast
know.
that
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember screaming about the ninja diffuse. But
awesome.
You know, it's hard to pick one event. There's probably a lot, and a man that holds many is probably that ace. One that comes to mind for me is he was in like a 1v3, 1v4 situation, and he gets everybody. There's one guy left. And they're battling around this box on fort, and he jumps and he hits the jump shot with the TRG and clutches up, gets it. Like I lost it. I was going crazy screaming as if I was playing in that moment. And I think that's, you know, sometimes you don't have to break it down. Sometimes you don't have to get analytical. You just live in that emotion that they're living in, and you put yourself in that moment. Like you are that gamer. So, you know, you're hype, you're calling out those double kills, and then he hits that clutch and you're screaming in excitement for him as if you hit that clutch. And so sometimes we do break it down, but a lot of times, you know, you enjoy and you live in that moment. That way, when they watch it back, they get to relive that moment again. Yeah. So, but yeah, that ace definitely is a man of many very exciting moments. And maybe I'm a little biased because I love sniping in every game I play, and he's one of the few players that will still use a marksman in big tournaments, and he is the best to do it when it comes to the Tarkov arena scene.
Without a doubt. I want to add extra to it and say that I think that this is why I want to see more tournaments carry more prize funding as a whole for arena. So something I've really wanted to get out there as a whole, actually, to be able to say this, and for you guys to give us an opportunity to say it here, is actually a big thank you to you guys. This is something that I think really needs to be heard. Is I want to see more people get up out of their chair at Comp Arena and scream at the PC with passion. And I mean the comp players
on
too.
base arena.
This is what I'm saying. Like, you know, if you get in your fives, all right, and you get up against a team that, whether you think a guy's cheating, or you think a guy's just playing really scummy, or you think a guy's just better than you and you're really jealous about it, you take it personal. But then you start cheering at the end of a round. If you make clutches up, you go on, fucking Jerry. Yes, Jerry. Like, you start giving them some, and it gets personal. I want more of that. I can't wait for the day that somebody turns around to me and says, we're doing an arena LAN. Are you in? And I'm like, yeah, hell, yeah, I am. I'm going to be there first day, because I want to see all 5 members of both teams on that first LAN with a prize pool making it worth it. Do you get what I'm saying? You put a bit more money
Adding that
behind
extra
it,
competitiveness to it. Yeah, absolutely.
then they're really going to have
More
something
of a
to fight
reason
for.
to play. Yeah.
I want to see people get behind Comp Arena. It has the cinema to deliver. We've cast cinema, and I want to see the players get given a reason to drive more because they have the passion. I mean, hell, we have a guy called Kana that's played Comp Scene that literally has a shooting bodies meme that comes after it now that we all say he's reaching if you shoot a body after you've killed him because of his iconic just sledging in the game. That's real competitive passion for me. I want more of that.
Yeah, for sure. I think it deserves it. I think Arena deserves it. I think Arena has something special to it. You know, I think it has enough of that Tarkov realism and the Tarkov mechanics really separate itself from what other shooters are. You know, I think Arena can absolutely go all the way. It's a solid game, and the pro scene so far that we have in Arena is top notch. Some otherworldly players, like they are insane. I was privileged enough during the drops. I got to hop in and play with a couple of them, and I think of myself as a decent player on Arena. I am okay. I can hold my own. The gap between myself and someone of that caliber is so broad. It's absurd. And it's just like the game knowledge, the game sense, the awareness, the time put into the maps and the repetitiveness of just grinding it out and learning it in and out every which way you possibly can. It makes for great broadcast, but also you have to look at the map design and the ideas behind the map design and the effort and the attention that goes into all that stuff too. It is it's quite impressive, and I think Tarkov Arena is probably one of the best, if not the best, at what they do. I just there isn't much other way around it.
It's for sure getting better too. Like it just keeps
Yeah.
getting better.
I'm biased though. I spend a lot of time on Arena. I play the shit out of it. I love it. Favorite game right now. Like even base game can't quite hold a flame to Arena just because of there's no repercussions, right? You can go in, you get to run your favorite kit, your best loadout, you get to run, that gun build you really like. There's progression, weapon tasks, there's all kinds of things to work towards just playing a 5v5 shooter. And it's I think it's pretty impressive. I think it's worthwhile. More people should definitely be checking it out, and definitely check out HuntPremier and watch the Arena Cup Series live streams, any of the tournaments going on. There's more than just HuntPremier too, right? Like you guys have a few other groups that do it too, right? Like
there's
like
been some that
independent
have kind
orgs,
of
I
come
guess
and
you could say.
gone,
Like,
but
yeah.
Is it just HuntPremier then? Is it?
So
They're
you'd
the
Hunt Premier,
primary.
you've Hunt Premier,
Yeah.
who had it's like the flagship. They're partnered obviously with Battlestate Games as Hunt Premier.
Right.
Obviously, that partnership is the ones that are kind of leading the way with it. You've had initial startup was your Hunt, your Sicario, and your Evasion. Then it moved through a bit, and Evasion, Sicario kind of quietened down a little bit, maybe fell off, not necessarily of just picking up as much consistency of events as what the Hunt had done. The face-off tournament series was one that sort of started up and then disappeared again in that time. A couple of different things as well. There was a group of Swedish guys that ran a tournament for a small period of time as well. There was there was Amps that came. That was again HuntPremier stuff. That was just HuntPremier, supported by BSG, but before the partnership. So there's been a load of different bits and bobs. Sicario have come back recently. They've started to try and do some more stuff. Obviously, Panderic had a stint where they were doing a fair bit of both Panderic and Ski Mask Timmy independent events as well, the Chop Shop stuff, and then the Panderic overall, like Timmy's and Pros events that was done, which was really cool. So yeah, I mean, we've done a few bits and bobs. Vanguard, Proving Grounds, which was Luke Goblin and company. They did their own independent as well. They did the Pit, which is their second event. That again, pretty cool too. Obviously, Vanguard had a few things going on. Epic Fails. These two were both in the NA scene. Obviously, the Easy Epic Fails boys, they ran a tournament of their own as well. Did the one independent one. So you've got Walker's Mini Cup. Obviously, Walker does his bits and bobs now, where he's trying to give a little bit into the NA scene whilst they have a bit more quieter period between each of their different seasons for Pinnacle. So that's another thing. I mean, there's a lot of different little independent bits going on, but you tend to find that it's either extensions of or acquaintances of the pro scene or the comp scene that are offering these events right now. You notice obviously Vanguard that set the tournament, they have a team that plays the tournaments too. Sicario again have a team that plays the tournaments. You've got Evasion, even to that extension, they've got a squad that normally tries to qualify for or plays in the majority of the competitive stuff. So it's needing a bit more, I guess, outward support rather than the teams themselves putting into it at the moment. That's the one thing that Arena's kind of really missing to sort of break into that next level of relevance is some outward support and funding, and I guess some belief, really. I think that the funding's already kind of there. Like Battlestate Games have shown they're willing to write the check for it. You know, they've said they're willing to write the check for a $1 million prize pool this year at some point in 2026. We don't know when that is. We don't know whether that means multiple tournaments, one event, in person or remote. We don't know anything about that yet. They just teased that before the release. So, you know, they're very hype right now, and there's lots to come, but we don't know what it looks like. And I think a little bit of like outward tournament organization support, hosting and funding would go a long way to help that. You know, somebody like an IEM, not necessarily IEM, but like, you know, a Masters event, that's sort of mid-tournament event that fit in between the seasons. I think that's what it's missing right now. It's missing like an invitational where it pits the regions against each other to really test themselves.
Right. How I wasn't expecting that. I'll be honest. I wasn't quite expecting that much of an answer, but I'm glad you did go into it. How if someone wanted to support, you know, how would they go about contacting HuntPremier to be able to, you know, whether it's like donations or offering venues or whatever it may be, however it is that they could help? Like, is there a website they can visit? Or
I mean, Hunt, for example, is nice and easy. You get in touch with the people that run the Hunt. You know, you jump into the Discord through there, jump in chat, !Discord, and then bop a message out to the boss man himself is normally a good one. You know, if you're looking to support with funding and you want to run a tournament, Philbo is the man. At the end of the day, it's the HuntPremier works as a business. You know, you would need to present them a package and say, hey, I'd like to run this tournament with this style. I need you to support casters, not support casters. I need you to support spectators, not support spectators. I'm providing prize pool. I'm not. You provide a pitch. Yeah, you give them, this is what I'm looking to run. Hunt will respond to you and say, it would cost you this much for us to do this event for you. Because that's what they do. They run the event, and then you go from there. Do you know what I mean? If they want to get some advice, I know that people have reached out to Connor, for example, on production side of things and said, hey, Ski Mask Timmy, for example, has said, I'm doing this for a scoreboard thing. How does the animation side of it work? Connor's seen it and helped him out with it. And then Timmy's then passed it across and they've implemented it in HPL. You know, those two worked together with each other, did Ski Mask Timmy and the Hunt whilst they were doing their various different tournaments. And that helped both organizations' production level grow. So that was a nice thing to see. So I think genuinely just reaching out through the various channels. I mean, Philbo's a DM away. The Hunt events as a whole is contactable. You know, they have their own email address that you can reach out to them by. The same goes for people like Sicario as well. I'm sure each of the various places have their own representatives. For example, I'll give you one that I also know of, as I've worked with before. Loot Goblin from Vanguard. That would be the one if you're looking to reach out to Vanguard for a tournament, you liked what they did and you wanted to offer a prize pool as support or offer a sponsorship so that you could work with them to support that. You would just simply send Loot Goblin a DM. These people are not unapproachable. I think it's hard sometimes. We as humans, we see people earning a level of respect in their business or their industry, and it kind of like puts up this facade of a glass wall that they're unreachable. Like you can't just knock on the door and say, oh, yeah, how do I get in touch with this person? Well, really, it is just a simple case of being like, hey, man, this is the idea. What do you think?
Yeah.
The worst somebody can say is no, right?
That's and I mean, you always expect these people to be extremely busy and just have so much going on. It's like, well, why even bother? You know, it is worth it. You know, as the podcaster here, I guess, you know, it is as simple as just reaching out to people. We've had several people say no, you know, outright, like, nah, don't want to. That's fine, you know, okay. And we just continue asking people. And, you know, it's all about determination and what you're wanting to achieve. So you have to be willing to put yourself out there. And that is a big part of not just, you know, getting in contact with people and working with people and doing these different types of things in general. But yeah, so if you're interested in putting tournaments together, supporting the HuntPremier stuff, do you have the website handy?
Oh my word, yeah, I can go get it for you. One sec. It's Discord. Honestly, Discord is the best way. Simply reach out to HuntPremier via the Discord. It's the best way to contact them. I mean, it's where
we
the
will
majority of us
put
convene.
the HuntPremier Discord down in the.
I will get you. Oh, I've got it here.
Let's say I can get it after. And we
I
can
have
throw
a
it down in the-
business card. I have the business card, so I can send you a picture of the Hunt Events business card.
That'll work.
With the email address on it, and then that's the way people can reach out. Because honestly, that Hunt Events email address is the best way to reach out to them if you're looking to support or get involved with them for work as a whole. Genuinely.
Perfect. For players who are coming from classic Tarkov, what arena mechanics or strategies tend to surprise people the most when watching competitive play?
Ooh. I think people are often shocked at how slow some of the chattiest players that they see on stream play sometimes. I think people are very, very shocked to see people that actively, run around and like, yeah, push me,
Yeah.
and then they're sat and they're holding an angle for like 40 seconds in the opener to a round, and it's just, we spoke about this in the off screen just before we were prepping for this, and we said it's the way you approach comp versus the way you approach unranked games, isn't it? It's a completely different cipher level, so I just think it boils down to that.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, it's, a lot of stuff comes with repetition, right? The more you play it, the more you're going to get used to it. There's, as far as base game and arena, I feel like a lot of the mechanics are somewhat comparable. Obviously, it's still the same game, right? But the inertia is different. So, there are some subtle differences, but I don't know. I don't feel like as a whole it's, but I'm not a pro either, right? I just run around and shoot stuff and have fun. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. I always just see people in chat a lot of the times. You guys are casting. You probably can't keep up with chat as much at all, really. But a lot of people are always like, "Oh, the peaks, the peaks." It's just like the way that they peak, the jiggle peaking and stuff like that. You see a lot of like weird mechanics kind of come into play, right? I was watching one of the ACS not too long ago. I was watching a replay of it. It was on Skybridge, and the guy, instead of peeking right left, he turned his side to the wall and he was like walking forward and like free cam looking and stuff. And I was just like, what is going on here? Like, crazy. Even me, with some time in the game, I never would have thought to like try to abuse it in that way or like even use it at all. Just an interesting peak. That level that the pro players are at, is.
And I think he was doing it out of VIP, but the thing is, when you look right and you're walking forward, he can see where that edge is. So all he's really trying to do is make sure that his barrel's sticking out because he's trying to bait out their pre-fire. So he pretends like he's showing that he's coming out. He's looking right to make sure that he's not stepping out too far. And he's baiting out that pre-fire. That way he can, hopefully they'll use up a bunch of ammo or whatever, wait for that pause and then swing. So, but yeah, I mean, that's because they are on that other level. Like I wouldn't think about it until I see it. And then I'm able to analyze it and realize what's going on. But I'm like, they are on another level.
Yeah,
I changed my mind
last thing on my
actually.
mind at that time.
I changed my mind actually. You brought one to my point. I'll tell you what shocks people the most of the difference between the two: awareness, game sense, and awareness.
Oh yeah.
The amount of times I see people in the chat going wild, like, "Oh, he's cheating! There's no way he knows." These guys have not just better audio perception or visual perception or combined perception and game sense. That's where people forget is it's not just a case of they've spent their gifted pre-base skills. They've also grafted. They've also got vast amount of hours in the game. They're also young and have the reaction times. Like it's a combination package. And I think the biggest part of that is how many factors go into that rather than people just assuming that this guy just knows he's there. Right. You see that a lot in the comp scene. A lot of people in chat are confused how these people have so much information gathering.
Yeah, you see that in base game too. Like people always calling cheater on like plays that they just don't understand. And it's like certain people have played the game enough. They know what you're going to do to them. Like they know every time, like most of the time at least, what's coming at them, and it's from experience. And aiming skill is one thing, but just knowledge of what people do is something that really people don't seem to understand it.
Well, and something that we also don't get to hear or see really is the amount of call outs these guys are making to each other while they're in these matches. You know, we just see a visual perspective of what's happening and the shots being fired. There is so much being talked about, just constant comms. You know, it is impressive. They track everything. They keep track of everything. They know what got thrown where. You know, who should be where their guys are at, where they're at. You know, it's a lot, and it's impressive to hear and listen to. I've been lucky enough to sit in on some scrims here and there, not for Arena but for other games, Overwatch 1 specifically, and you know, just hearing that chatter back and forth, even in something like scrims where they're joking around and having fun, it's this almost drones on over the game, because it's just this constant like feedback after feedback, and it's really cool, really interesting.
If the arena scene wanted to help itself grow more, that's something we need to see more of the pro teams doing. I need the teams to play in scrims with their webcams on, with their voice comms being recorded. I get some of it's going to be haram. It's behind closed doors and it's meant to be private, which means somebody's going to have to do some editing. I understand that takes time. I get that. But I think the quality of the content that comes out of it that's so real and helps endear the larger audience to some of the players and helps give them a more of a storyline, I think that would do a massive, massive favor for a lot of the comp scene as a whole for Arena. And I think it's good entertainment. I know I personally would sit and record reaction videos to those videos. I love watching the League of Legends LCL, LPL, LCK voice channel clips and watching them do stupid shit, and then just watching somebody like THRU recording their reaction to them doing it and saying even more stupid stuff. Like that's good entertainment for me, and it's real as well, because you're going to call someone a clown once in a while. Yeah, of course, you're going to start randomly coming out and sing song like you do once before you start a ranked match on a night time, because you just do. It's being human. But that's what we tend to enjoy the most, is enjoyment is other humans being human. So,
well, it's kind of nice to see that, you know, they are human, right? They're not these crazy robots that just crazy robots that just do, like, you know, run through these things, you know. Kind of
360 no scope like it's nothing. Yeah, exactly.
It's nice to put the person to the game. Like, oh, and that's kind of how you build rapport amongst your viewers too. You know, like you want your viewers to have that favorite player. You want your viewers to have, you know, a team that they really like, whether it's because they're funny or they're just cracked. You know, it's. I agree. I think that would be really handy for the arena scene. I think so. I think it's a good idea. What about here? Let's dive back down memory lane a little bit, and something we probably should have asked early on, but we're asking now. How did you both get into casting? I know we kind of started to touch on it a little bit, like we were right there on the cusp, but we just kind of started on a tangent, probably like this channel was really good for, and yeah, here we are. So yeah, how did you guys both get into casting?
You're going first on this one, I'm sure, right?
Okay. Well, that's I mean, that's fine. I've been wanting to know this from Cracked. I know we kind of talked about it off screen there for a minute, but I started thinking, I was like, I don't know if I really know how Crack got into it. So I'm excited to hear his story. But for me, I actually had a couple jobs I was working, and unfortunately, my wife had a stroke, so I kind of quit to take, care of her and my newborn baby for a while. So I was just gaming on the side. Once we got him out of the hospital and stuff, I'd just be gaming on the side, streaming. And when I was dead, I would cast over my games. And an org saw me one night. And they're like, "Hey, how would you like to come cast some Counter-Strike for us?" And I was like, "Well, that'd be great," And they ended up having an RLCS team as well. So I got some RLCS experience early on, but ironically, it just literally came from, the right time, right place. Just happened to be having fun casting over a game while I was dead, and org seeing me and saying, "Hey, come cast for us." And so, funny enough, the guy that I used to cast for, he was the sniper on our team, just got signed to Astralis last week. My boy Fuzi from Sweden. So really excited to see him back on the big screen. But yeah, it's just kind of like, weird events that took place and a little bit of luck. And now I've been chasing the dream for the last almost 7 years. I think I've been casting full time now.
Very nice. That is impressive.
I have it's an interesting one, actually. So, okay. I was quite smart in school, relatively gifted, sit in the back of the class, doodle in the back of my book and still kind of get good grades. I kind of not really care too much. I went to... I had a time in my life where IRL stuff wasn't so great. I had the curse of 3, where 3 bad things happened all at once, and it kind of affected my grades. I won't go into too much detail of that because I'm not one for bringing the mood down. And like life happens, these bad things happen. We all have our own version of what that bad thing was. So I like to think that I had my sad time. You know, things just didn't go well for a little bit. All right, I didn't grade as well as I wanted to, and they left me short of what I wanted to do for university. I wanted to go to university to do chemistry. I was a massive science nerd. Thought I was going to be a white lab coat rat, like that, the whole 9 yards, like all the way up to Einstein's equations and everything. And always wanted to kind of do science. And it was because it was something that not just I wanted, but like my parents kind of were quite keen on it for me as well. And my parents were very like trophy son-esque, I guess, when we were younger. They always wanted to be better than the neighbors' sons. It was kind of like an infight between the snobby parents was to like, my son's better than your son and all this. So we were kind of used, not used in a horrible way, but we were kind of like used as tools for the parents to have social conversations, to be like, oh, my son got this today. My son did this in sports this week. Because it's just typical parent gaff.
Just
honestly.
little one-ups, yeah, just back and forth.
Yeah. So my
Yes.
parents then kind of developed this, like, we wanted him to be a scientist to cure cancer. It all got a bit much, honestly, and I kind of like stepped away from it. So I went and did like art, street dance, craft design, CDT, engineering for my A levels, as well as my sciences and my maths and stuff, and did really well in the creative stuff. And sort of basically like took a massive career turn away from chemistry and didn't make my grades for university. So I went to uni through clearing and did robotic engineering. Robotic engineering was just code. So that got me into computers. I started playing League of Legends from that because my housemate at the uni that I got into through clearing was a League of Legends nut in season 2, way back when you could build THRU with 3 bloodthirsters and it didn't have unique powers. It was all stackable and you could just you'd kill everything 3 items deep.
Overkill things, yeah.
That's it, yeah. Canadian housemate we used to have at the time called Jar Jar Binks. That tells you exactly the style of household this was. His nickname was literally after a Star Wars character.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Got knee deep into League of Legends for a couple of years and found that I had quite a knack for gaming. Like I was quite good at playing computer games, but I wasn't ever really the best at much. That kind of became a trend. I started noticing that I was pretty good at sports, but I wasn't really very good at it enough to be exceptional. I started to realize that I wanted to do something that I was really good at, and I couldn't figure out what it was that I was really good at until somebody pointed out one day, well, you don't fucking shut up, do you? And they kind of be right. They do kind of be right. I was like, what am I really good at? Well, talking. You're not wrong. So much so that I could talk somebody to death. And Sauce will tell you the real truth of this, all right? If you think you know people that are wizards with words, Haught, you remember the guy that tried to, I said the lady that tried to scam us in PAX West?
Mhm.
I scammed the scammer. I basically convinced the scammer into giving us 4 bracelets for cost price instead of them scamming us out of €200 worth of stuff to build a school that didn't exist. It was honestly the funniest experience in the world. And Haught, just after I'd taken the bracelets off her, I gave her $4. So I was like, no, thank you. You said any donation. Goodbye. Have a nice day. And we walked off with 4 brand new, nice, shiny bracelets. Haught's like, I cannot believe you just did that. And that's great.
That's awesome.
He's got them here. Look, he's got the bracelets. He's
Got
actually
yeah,
got the bracelets.
sick.
Yes. We have to tell
that's
this story in a
awesome.
second. We have to tell this story. It's so good, honestly. But no, so yeah, when it came to talking, I just figured, right, that's it. And from League of Legends, the one thing that was amazing about playing League of Legends was it was my first introduction to gaming. So, of course, when World Championships came about for League of Legends, especially Season 2, Season 3, it was a big thing. It was so popular. My housemate was like, it was in his blood. So we watched them together, right? We'd get back home from uni and we'd sit and we'd watch the World Championships. And I just remember watching D-Man and Freak for the first time and being like, yo, these guys are cool. Like the casters, they're the real cowboys in this. They're the real rock stars. I was like, right, okay. Well, I'd love to do it. Never thought I'd ever be good enough. All right. Kept milling around the right people, did league things, got into Tarkov. And then I met a guy by the name of Shifty TTV. And Shifty basically had us helping out for crew stuff for the tournaments for a little bit, had us around, and we had a day where he was missing a caster, and we would always kind of yapped about it, and we were like, oh yeah, if you ever get a chance, I'll give it a go, no problem at all. And it was Shifty, like I say, on the face-off tournaments. Funnily enough, we've still got the tag for it here, actually. The first ever dog tag I got, a face-off tag.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
That says CrackedWisdom Commentator on the back of it from way back when. So this is back in the 2010s when we worked for Shifty for the face-off stuff. And that was all volunteers. time.
That's
And he
cool.
was like, "Yeah, you're pretty good at this." So we did that with them, and he fell off. He disappeared. Life took over. He vanished for 2 years, and I did nothing from it. And then, like I say, we did that Destiny raid with Walker and company. The hunt cottoned on, and I started as a hunt crew member. And then from the one day, I think it was Fudge XL, ended up having to do some stuff with Daisy instead of casting, and couldn't make it. And the guys were like, "Oh, I'd yapped for a while saying I wanted to do it. I'd been really keen
Yeah.
at that point saying I wanted to do it." And they were like, "Okay, you can have a go." And then I came off, and I just remember them saying to us after the first time I cast, they were like, "Well, you're never going back to doing crew again, are you?" And I was like, "Nice. We'll take that."
Awesome. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. What about working with HuntPremier and BSG? How long have you guys been doing that in total?
Oh gosh, what are we at now? We're coming up to, so HuntPremier is easily 2 years now, probably over 2 years actually at this point in time. 2, maybe so. BSG and Hunt's partnership is something that started at the beginning of the Gigabyte 8 Aura stuff last year.
Yeah.
So that's been going on for just over a year now, I believe. But Battlestate Games and Hunt have had a good relationship, have been working together for a while now. Before that, even before they were partnered, it was something that Philbo had, made a lot of effort to work towards, was building that good relationship with BSG and doing the tournament to a standard that they were happy with, as well as what, Philbo's a man of perfection. To be honest, he always aims for the highest of standards for everything he does. So, it's a run of the mill for him to deliver top quality stuff, honestly, and we're very grateful for it because it makes our work a lot easier. But yeah, I don't know. I think they've just always had that connection. We've been, I want to say 3 years. I want to say over 3 years total, including the base game tournaments. But I think it's been about 3.5, maybe nearly 4 years in total now. But with BSG, probably the last year, definitely the last 6 months, more closely with Battlestate Games for myself and Haught specifically. We've done a lot with them since back end of summer this year to the end of the year, which again, super grateful for. Like, not sure how I earned that cherry ticket, but whoever it was that blessed us with that one, I'm, that person can have all the effort in the world for me. I'm very grateful.
I mean, yeah, absolutely, understandably.
Yeah, pretty much. I think Cracked. I know Cracked was there longer than me, but I think it's been about 2.5 years for me for Hunt. Back in 2024, I think I did around that summer or just after was when I had done my first 2 base game events, because unfortunately I didn't keep track of my gigs like I did in 2025. In 2025, I made a point to every gig, the name, the date, who was my co-caster, who was on production, everything, the hours. So unfortunately, I don't have all that information from 2024, but that was when I had started a couple base game tournaments and then that arena journey with Hunt. For me, I saw Cracked on screen with a couple different people. There was a Julia or something, and some other people casting, but she plays DayZ a lot now.
Yes, yeah. Julie, was it maybe?
Something like that. But anyways, I saw them casting a lot, and I had played base game a lot. But I've casted a ton of stuff at this point. So I went in there and I just asked in chat, how do you become a caster? Didn't really hear much. Came back the next day, got a response about making a ticket, made a ticket. A week went by, the ticket disappeared. Went back into chat, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, we're just busy putting this tournament on." I was like, no problem. Made another ticket, sent them my reel, and they gave me an opportunity. And after my first time casting, they were like, "Yeah, you're definitely welcome to cast again." So, but yeah, I definitely have not been there as long as Cracked.
Almost part of the scenery now.
Yeah.
What events mostly did you guys do before that? Like, what were you most commonly found doing before the Tarkov Ace?
9 to 5 at Greg's.
For me?
No joke. Actually, 9 to 5 at Greg's. Yep. Working a day job.
I've been casting Counter-Strike since I've probably done. I think they do 4 seasons a year, and I've been doing it for 6 years. So I've got over 25 plus seasons in Counter-Strike. I've casted TwitchCon. I've done a lot of Extra Life event for charity land events out west.
Life school.
Yeah, we raised millions and millions of dollars for kids every single year. So I go out west for them every year. I've been lucky. I've gotten to do some RLCS events, but I've done high school and middle school events, and so some of those are my most favorite memories, like I said, because of how they treat me. But getting to do TwitchCon was cool. These in-person events with BSG, like I said, just because I got to hang out with them afterwards and connect on a different level. But I've been very, very lucky and very blessed with my career and my journey. Like I somehow managed to be able to scrape by and do it full time. Bought my first house a couple years ago. Thankful that I have a wife that supports what I do. My dad showed up the other day in this hot sauce shirt that he had made, and he's since had my kids made.
These are great, by the way. I've got one of these
So
at home too.
it
Maybe
was
not this
well. This
style,
is
but-
different. This one's
Oh, these are
different.
better.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my God, it's so
awesome.
cool.
So
These are
Cracked
insane.
had some
Yeah,
shirts
those
that
are
I had made
crazy.
and I saw on my website, but my
Yeah.
dad just showed up to my house one day. I needed to borrow like a weed
They're
eater or something.
so good,
And he
dude.
showed up wearing it. And I was like, oh my God, those are so good. So he had one
That's
made for my
cool.
daughter and my
Yeah.
son, and she wears it all the time. And so
For sure. Yeah.
it's just it's moments like I said, I've been very fortunate on my journey that I've been able to make it work, and that I have a family that supports me. But yeah, it's I went from having a lot more money to being poor all the time, but being around my family all the time and literally getting to shot, like I get to do what I love. So, hopefully I'll
Worth a
get back
lot.
into making more money eventually, but it's it was a fair trade-off.
Awesome. As Tarkov Arena competitive scene continues to grow, what changes broadcast wise or game wise do you think would most improve the experience?
Ooh.
I think for me, I think we could have better promotions. I think sometimes we don't promote these events. And again, maybe not Hunt's
Agree.
fault, maybe they get the information late from BSG.
Yep.
But I think if we had better promotion of, in advance, months in advance, hey, this tournament's coming up. They have it on the launcher. They could post that right on the launcher. So when people load up the game, they see it. Hey, come watch 2 of the 4 days and win a special in-game item. Encourage people to get involved because let's face it, people are, they want the drops. They want that kind of stuff. So encourage them to stop by and check it out. And, they get a little bit of reward, and all of a sudden they hear the casting over it as well. And all of a sudden they're like, wow, this is really cool. I do. And then maybe that'll attract more people reaching out to other different companies, Logitech, whatever it might be, looking for some funding. I think there's a lot of ways that it can grow. Anything can always grow and get better. The moment that you think you're the best and you can't grow is the moment that you have a problem. But I think those are at least a couple changes off the top of my head. I know, Cracked, you probably have some as well.
I just want to reach out more to the effect of this. I'm going to change my backdrop again on my camera. You see what's behind me on that in the middle? What does that say?
The Arena Cup series?
All right, okay. And where is that? Is that on the map?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay. So for Arena Cup Series 3, they did an update very close to the event. I think it was actually 2 days before the event. It was the weekend of. That they updated. All of the maps had Arena Cup Series 3 on the walls, in the maps,
As it should.
everywhere.
As they should.
It was the best bit of marketing for the Cup Series I'd seen, and even that was too late in my opinion. That should be on the scenery up to a month in advance. I'd take it 2 weeks in advance, but up to a month in advance to tell your players it's coming. They're playing the game. It's on the walls. It looks exceptional. It feels great when you're playing your pub games with that on the walls. It even gives you a little bit of a feeling that you're in a little bit more of a competitive environment. It gets you locked in a bit. And here's the other thing as well. Sponsors. You want to talk to people like Corsair, like Steel Series, like in it for the audio
on the
masters
wall
or something like
in-game.
that. Exactly. You put them on the wall in the game right now, all right? You slap that on the side wall of Fort as players are walking in and they see Corsair, sponsor of the next ACS, you're going to be like, hey, up. Well, we know that when Gigabyte did it and when Aorus and AMD did it, there was graphics cards and laptops being given away. So if Corsair's doing it, then they might be giving away a power supply. They might be giving away a new keyboard, but Corsair's... It's like that. It's like your marketing only goes as far as the marketing efforts go, and I feel like that's definitely something that really could be addressed. You smashed it with that one, Sauce. I liked what they did with this. My further step to that would be, you talked about like promoting the game. Let's talk about the game's mechanics. The other half of the question you mentioned. Dice rolls. Skill-based decision-making and gameplay gets impacted negatively by dice rolls. I want less dice rolls. I don't think Ricochet chance has a place in competitive arena, not for face shields. Helmets, I'll take one here and there, so on and so forth, but I'm done with this percentage chance of penetration. It should be a flat value for me. It goes through or it doesn't. It either goes through the armor and it deals the damage it should do flat to the health, or it deals blunt damage. I don't like this halfway ground. I don't mind an ammo not penning an armor. That's the whole point behind the kit disparity. That's why you build kits to be a scout, to be an assault, to be an enforcer, to be a marksman. Happy for that to be there. Same can be said for helmets. If you shoot someone across the top of the helmet and you dink one off the top of the dome, you literally just clip the top of the lid, I'll take a dice roll on a ricochet chance there. But if I shoot somebody in the face in a set in swimming goggles, no, he's not tanking that. No, sorry. Suck on the biggest banana out in my fruit basket, right? No chance. Not in a month of Sundays. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's a great idea. That's a great change. I think you're.
can't-
No, I agree.
Right.
It doesn't make
Mhm.
sense,
Yeah.
especially the rounds.
Not
That
in
if
competitive.
they are what we are shooting, these live ammunition rounds, it should be penetrating a level 3 face mask without issue. If you want to put the numbers to the statistics and everything else, it just doesn't make any sense, right? It just doesn't.
Let them have it for the drip. I'm down for the aesthetics.
Yeah.
The paints we've had in the game have
Hell yeah.
vastly improved the experience of Arena. The new clothing that they've put in for base game and Arena is exceptional. The stuff that's come in the battle pass for the shirts they did, again, both seasons of them have been exceptional. Just give me more of that. It's fine. Screw the ricochet chance. Just let me paint my face. Let me paint my helmet. I don't care. It doesn't need to be functional. We've got the functionality. As you shoot somebody in the face, somebody fall over. That's the whole idea of the competitive
It
environment.
is,
And it's
it
like,
is.
Right.
you put this bolty in here too. All right. You've got a bolty with a one-tap bullet that doesn't always one-tap.
Yeah.
I don't mind shooting legs and I don't mind shooting arms and not killing them, but my 3 vital areas, my thorax, my stomach, and my head, if I get shot with them and it's center of mass, I'll even let you have the stomach for free. All right, I'll even let you tank one to the stomach. But if I hit thorax or I hit head and you tell me that bullet is meant to be one tap, that's the point here. In context, it's meant to be one tap. Then I would like the bullet to consistently one tap, because otherwise you can't play into it. You can't lean into it as a strategy.
Yeah, there shouldn't be different results depending on which time or whoever took the shot. Each shot should do the same thing. I agree with that. Specifically for competitive, like in the base game, I understand. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot to it, but in competitive play,
Mhm.
if the person makes the better play, they should be rewarded and not have a chance of something like that taking it away.
I mean,
Small
time to
caveat,
kill.
it is hard to suggest these without saying that it's an easy fix. Let's not let anybody get too
Right.
jaded
Yeah.
that this
Right,
is what
right.
Jason was
Into
saying,
their
and
stuff.
it's
It's not like they
Exactly,
go in
yeah.
there and they press one button and all of
Yeah.
a sudden
Right.
it's what we
Exactly.
want.
face
Yeah,
shield's
exactly.
gone.
There's
Ricochet
a lot
off.
of
Yeah.
Give me a
Yeah.
wand and I'll start working tomorrow. But it isn't that simple.
Seriously,
And we
right.
do have to respect, as much as I would love to write it tomorrow, it is
Yeah,
that's
100%.
relevant too, for sure.
I think with time to kill already being so fast in Arena, it doesn't make the most sense to let face shield stop so much happening. And it is what it is at the moment with the meta shifts and everything, but Enforcer, you're rocking some kind of big heavy LMG and you're getting outplayed by like Infi 7s and stuff. Like, yeah, it's like it doesn't even really matter who got the drop on who. It's just that you have the slower firing rifle, right? Or gun, I should say. Or the fact that, it's just, I don't really know exactly what it is, but Enforcer feels pretty down in the dirt right now.
at the moment. But I'm okay with that because they
That's
were
just a meta
riding
shift,
high
though,
for a
right?
while.
They were.
Right, exactly. And
I
so
guess
they
I'm
were
still
riding
living
high
in the
for a
glory
while.
days. So
I miss it too.
You
I had
know?
just learned to shoot legs and stuff. So I had just learned, I got cracks build as well, and I was having fun with it. But I like this. And I've said it before when we cast Arena. I really like this because we saw that meta for a while. Now we're seeing meta shift a little bit quicker. We saw the P90s come into play, and almost as quickly as the P90s came into play, we saw them go out of play with now MP7s coming back into play. So I would like to see these meta shifts consistently happening. I think it does keep it fresh. I just hope that they do consistently happen and it doesn't, kind of stay on one thing. I think we're going to see the model one shine for a little bit, but I think we're going to see the NL come to Arena. I think we're going to see some of these other new guns come to Arena, like the NL, like the new VOW, and I think they're going to be popular for a little while. I hope that Marksman does get that fixed, because hitting someone when it should be a one-hitter quitter and it's not does really suck. As someone who loves Marksman, and in a game like Tarkov, where in just a quick simple peek, one bullet to your dome as a Marksman can kill you as well from that shittier ammo. So it's like, you know, I would like to see Marksman in a slightly better spot because I feel like they've never really had their big time to shine yet, and I'm being biased in that one. But I do like the fact that we see the meta shifting quite a bit.
The
Constantly.
base
Yeah,
CQCM,
it is
it
nice.
was dropped
It is nice.
to
Yeah,
level
3.
3,
Yeah,
wasn't
from
it?
level 4
Yes.
to 3. So they
Yeah.
brought it back down in line. They moved the P90 ammo, the SS190. They dropped
it
it by
dropped.
2 penetration. They moved the
pin.
MP7
Needed, by the way.
40
by
round
2.
mags came back in, and
Yeah,
then
40s came back.
45 AP ammo got an increase by 2 when it
2
came to
pin.
pin, I think.
Yeah, it got up by 2.
There was another SMG that got nerfed.
The SR3M
What
ammo,
was it?
the 7 and 4 Zabilo, it got buff.
Did it get buffed?
It got a buff. Yeah.
got a buff,
Imagine
yeah.
that. Yeah, it got a buff. Yeah.
I don't think it needed
I'm
it,
surprised we
yeah.
haven't seen more of them running around just yet, honestly.
That's fair.
It's
I've got me
not
one built.
overpowered. I
called it
tried,
last week.
But it's not as exceptional as I thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
The ammo improvement has more balanced it than it has really made it overpowered, which I am glad for, by the way. It's very rare in a competitive environment that somebody attempts to balance something and they actually balance it rather than making it overpowered
It's
or
either
killing
broken
it.
or under.
So, fair play to them.
They put the AP rounds for the Velociraptor, which I've been having fun with. That
Yeah.
gun
Yeah,
does
that's
kind of
cool. That's cool.
anything more than like 20 meters, and that gun is so bouncy that you have to like. It's got great erg though. If you can snap to it like around the neck area or the head area and hit those first 2 shots, you drop them every time with that AP. It is nice, but anything downrange and anything more than those first couple shots, that thing is just bounce with me. Come on, just bounce with me.
300 Blackouts seems to do well in Arena, I think.
I'm looking forward to the new MCX parts coming to Arena. I
Yeah,
think with
absolutely.
the
And
longer
the
barrel
MP5.
options and stuff, you can really
yes.
balance out the MCX to be a lot more viable. Because CBJ,
I'm
it may not be
so
the
glad you
best
said that.
ammo, but like it still shreds. I've been working on the MCX, the current MCX, for a while for the weapon tasks. I've been using a lot of it in Blast Gang. But
I got
think
Rapids
with the new
build for the
parts,
MCX.
I'll kind of toot my own horn. I like my build for the MCX.
I'll take. I'd like to take a look at it.
I'll submit
I just actually, we were talking about this. I've just been building all the guns in my stash for base game before we came on to the interview. Somebody died and gave me their MCX. I'm actually looking for it now, which is also pretty crazy because the 2 new handguards are both very good and very efficient.
They are very good. Yeah.
It's the combo that you can now put the AK Evo stock on the back of it as well. Which is best in slot on any weapon at the moment. And the AK Evo stock is just disgusting.
It's absurd.
It now rides out without a 60 rounder in it at like a 50 something ergo and about a 47, is it vert recoil? Or is it 51? Let's have a look. No, 57, sorry, 57 vert recoil. But it's so good for an MCX. It's like otherworldly.
It's absurd. When you're so used to, anything you can do with a 9-inch or 6-inch barrel, 6.5-inch barrel is never going to compete with what you can pull out of recoil wise and control with something longer like the 18-inch handguard that actually works well with it too. It's pretty nice.
So many nice little changes like that came with 1.0, like so many little customization parts that completely change guns. Like it's been a blast just messing with the configurations.
I do have a question though, and we don't have access to it, but what's the deal with the red and the yellow handguard attachments that let you start running the other? Oh my gosh, it's for M4?
M4,
I think the M4s take them, the HK can take it, maybe not. But there's, I should just log in and look, but there is
You're on about the red hex.
The red hex handguard rail, and then the yellow hex handguard rail, and then you can attach another handguard to it, and then you can put another red or yellow attachment, like a handguard mount to mount your rails too, like your laser rail.
This is for the 7.62 AK platforms you're on about, isn't it?
No, M4.
He said M4.
I
haven't seen her mess with that yet myself.
You can't build them out yet. I don't.
You can't build them.
You can just.
But you can put it together in your edit build, in your preset.
Yeah, but you just there's nothing you can do with them.
Can't purchase them.
That got added.
They're not added to any trader. Yeah, they're
Gotcha,
there,
gotcha.
they're visible, but there's nothing we
Gotcha.
can do with them. So I wasn't sure if you guys had maybe had like some sort of inside scoop, if I'd get a little smile out of you or something, you know?
No, actually, you educated me a little bit. So
I'm wondering what these red bits are that you're on about. You're on about the gridlock bases.
Yeah, gridlock base. That's it.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're pretty handy.
Wait, okay. So
And they look
alright,
surprisingly
looking at
good
this.
too, overall wise.
Like it's just the beginning of a handguard. You realize that it pops you up another handguard slot, and
Yeah,
then the extra
and then you
handguard
can put
go
an
on there.
additional slot at the end of that handguard. It's a 3-piece
Interesting. This
setup.
allows you. Oh, this allows you room for
some cool
the
stuff.
grenade launcher underneath it on the M16, and a canted sight on the same yellow attachment. I shall look into that one and get back to you on that. That's interesting. Is that? I don't know.
But when you
What is-
search
what
the
is this all
parts,
about?
when you search the parts, you can't actually. They're just non-existent in the actual
But it's
game.
not on the game yet.
Yeah, they're just not
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, you just can't build it. You can mess with it, but you just can't build it.
And they've been there since hardcore wipe for sure. I think before the hardcore wipe even. Like we've looked at it a few times. We're always just building rifle. Like that's my favorite part of the Tarkov. I love PvP. I love running around. I love looting. I love finding stuff. I love killing people. I love doing the whole 9 yards, right? But when it comes to building guns, I really enjoy building guns. And then we've also spent a lot of time like making YouTube content around like breaking down stats for weight, recoil. Does weight like actually affect how your gun handles and all this other stuff compared to just outright building for stats and just those number blocks? There's a lot of stuff you can manipulate the way the gun handles based off weight, length, setup, stuff like that.
We found some very interesting things out of doing those tests.
Because
weight affects the gun way more than you would think.
Entirely. It entirely. And I mean, it even says it on the website, on the wiki, right? Like weight does have some role in it. But you can put a build together that you think is garbage parts because they don't look good on the sheet, but then you get out there with it and it is so snappy and ergo. But you also have to remember that this is built off of a realistic standpoint. So the weight of a gun is obviously, if it's a lightweight gun, you can manipulate it easier. You can do these things. It may not have high ergo stats for the gun itself, but the weight of the gun makes it to where it can snap. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of have to blend and mold.
We surprised ourselves.
There's a lot you can do with Tarkov builds. They're pretty interesting.
Interesting.
Beyond stats.
So, doing a bit of digging, it looks like this is what the crossover is going to be for the M16, because we don't really have too many adjustments other than putting basically an M4A1 or equivalent receiver on top to turn the gun essentially into an M4 for it to be moddable. If you want to run it as an M16, you still have to run a scope mounted on the carry handle right now.
Right.
Is the way that this is going. So my understanding of this is we're probably going to get some more M16 receivers that will allow us
in line with
that will go alongside the griddle. Yeah, because it's all Strike Industries equipment, right? So it's all the same brand. It all works with the same style of what we have in for the stock as well. Because you can change that stock out for the same SAS stock that's from the M10, the new SR25, the Talk version of it. But there's also room for the ARE buffer tube, which then gives you access to everything M4 and AR-15 platform. So there's a lot in this. Those gridlock bits are just, I'm assuming it's going to be 3 different versions
in the game,
of being
not
able to
really
build
ready yet, right?
Yeah, the difference between them is the cooling. So these look like they are designed to be better for like fighting Black Division. This is the kind of weapon you're going to take in if you're going to want better like durability reduction, reduced, like less duraburn for like the longer fights.
Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I think that's what they're there for.
I would have said like anti-durability burn if it was my brain functioning that thought out. So it's cool.
Yeah,
yeah, like just something that means the opposite of what the word is. Let's see. We are at about 3 hours though, and I think it's been a pretty productive podcast. I think everybody's gotten to know you guys fairly well, and we've gotten to ask you guys some good questions. Yeah, it's been a good time. So
definitely appreciate you inviting me on.
Yeah, anytime you guys want to come, literally anytime. We're always just chilling in here doing this. So you guys want to have a conversation about anything that happens, cool tournament pops off, and you guys want to talk about it or anything like that, cool with that too. So just feel free to reach out to us anytime.
Awesome.
But yeah,
thank you.
Thanks for watching. And
I just want to say that you guys are probably 2 of the best representatives for what you guys do, and I'm happy that you guys did this for us. And seriously, the passion and dedication you guys have, it shows, and just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Awesome.
Hey, if people want to help either of us continue doing what we're doing, I know the both of us stream. on Twitch, you can get a hold of me, the Cracked Wisdom, normally brackets left face, just like you guys have fondly named us recently. Instagram at
Yeah, I
Cracked
couldn't
Wisdom
leave that
Paints
out.
if you're looking at anything artwork wise, you know. Twitter, there's a little thing for X for you at the moment. My real X page is at Cracked Wisdom, where the I is a number 1. There is also an at Cracked Wisdom with an I as the 1 HP that I don't know where it's come from, but it isn't me. All right, so at Cracked Wisdom with a 1 in the name, not with the letters HP at the end of it for Twitter. And yeah, I'd love to see more people coming by. We are trying to generate, building a great community of people that want to learn, want to improve at Arena. You know, we do community stuff. We've actually just finished a lot of community stuff over the festive period, and they're going to be doing a giveaway for some of those paintings and that artwork in the next couple of weeks on stream, as well as a giveaway for a copy of the game too. So if people are interested in that, yeah, swing by the Twitch, slap a follow on there, and like I said, keep an eye out because those giveaways will be in the next couple of weeks, which I just want to give as much stuff as we can back to the community. Like I said, this festive period has been great. So I just wanted to say a final thank you and shout out to the people out there that have helped us for that, because it's been really cool. So yeah, thank you to everybody and for you guys for having us on.
Yeah. I've I got a few things I plan on giving away from Tarkov as well. Some in IRL merch basically, and some other stuff here toward the end of the month. So if people are interested in that, same deal. They can find me at HaughtSauce on most things. Unfortunately, Twitter, it's _Haughtsauce_. If you can't remember those things, Hautsauce.com is my webpage. There is a link to the YouTube, the Twitch, and everything up above. So any and all support would be greatly appreciated. And you know, as Crack said, this was a lot of fun. So I do appreciate you know, both you, A Dizzle, and Earleg for inviting me on. It was a good time today.
Final thing about him as well on that website, folks, something he definitely needs to promote more of. This gentleman is also offering advice on casting. So if you are a young and upcoming caster and you're looking for some tips, tricks, or going through a course to help you develop those skills, including a gig at the end of it to help you test those skills out and get some feedback from, this man through that website has access to that for you. So if you are a young aspiring caster and you're looking for some guidance, as there isn't much out there in the way of support for this kind of thing, that Haughtsauce.com website is the place to go to, and I really cannot recommend it enough.
Appreciate you, brother.
Nice.
Yeah, awesome.
We'll throw your
awesome.
guys' links up
Yeah.
for the people to see too, so that way
Awesome.
they
Spelling
can
everything will
find
be up
Thank
there.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Thank you
you.
guys for coming on, and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode of Talking Tarkov, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so it helps us out tremendously while keeping you up to date with everything we've got going. Just be sure to click that bell icon so you never miss an upload. Catch you next week. See ya.
Peace.